Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling Realm Network proudly brings to you its 10-time Tag Team Champions of the World, the real Dwayne Allen, Brian H. Waters, the Wrestling Realm. Woo! And you know what? If you're not down with that, we just got 2 words for you.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
What's up, brother?
What's going on? What's cracking?
Hey, man, it's a party. It's a party. We finally here. WrestleMania season, baby.
Yes, indeed. It is WrestleMania season. Finally, we are 1 day away. And by the time you see this, it'll be Saturday. Wrestling. I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. It's WrestleMania season. The Wrestling Realm tour continues.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a great one. You know, we stopped by Ashley Baker's show. You know, I stopped by Nothing But That Sports Talk. I went to MMB Radio, and now it's time for our party. You feel me?
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a party indeed, because today is a very, 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 very special episode of Wrestling Realm Now.
Not then, not later.
No,
now.
Like this is like it's now. It's Wrestling Realm Now. Like I'm ready. Look at this. I'm ready. This is how you know it's WrestleMania season.
Now.
Now.
He got the belt. I
should leave it here, but I'm not. That's all right. We got business to attend to. We got something. We got something big in store for today. So let's do
it. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. It's not going to be a traditional show. You know, like you said, we got something big planned. But before we get there, you know, we still got another place to go. And that's not actually. This is after WrestleMania Night 1. You know, we going on tour again, because guess what? We're going to still be talking wrestling. We told y'all we open for bookings. We told y'all we open for business. And guess what? We're going with our brothers over at the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Yes, the one and only G-Lo, Dr. D, Champ Creed, and the one and only, they call him nephew, but he's a great brother of ours, the one and only Corey. So I'm really excited about that. You know, getting a chance to talk to them. You know, I was looking at some old footage on the YouTube channel, man, and you know, it took me back to WrestleMania 28, you know, being down there with those guys. But I've also looked at the footage when we was all at Ring of Honor before that, you know, and so we know it's always a party when we with them, always a party when we with family, you know, just like we're gonna have today.
Absolutely. We got one more stop to make before WrestleMania. No, actually, that's night 1, right? So just to reiterate, we will not be doing a post show for night 1. We'll be appearing on the Wrestling Marks of Excellence with some of our good brothers, and that is going to be a blast. It's been a long time coming. It's been a while since we've had an opportunity to do something like this. So, yeah, night 1, and then we'll be right back at again night 2 with our own post show. You never know, we might have another special guest. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, and guess what? Like, shoot, not a work. I just got to invite my wrestling opinion.
See, there we go. Another booking.
So that's gonna be Sunday. Sunday around 1. So you might as well come on too. If you know how she do her IG setup. You was there before. Obviously, I don't think y'all ain't gonna have to get into it about Darby Allin this time, but Baron Corbin.
Oh boy,
he might be on the card. He might not. So there y'all can have that conversation. So yeah, I know. I just told you come on with me, which I'm pretty sure she ain't gonna mind. You know, we all family.
Oh yeah. We still got unfinished business. We got a few more things to discuss. So.
yeah. But man, tonight, let's, you know, I'm gonna let you take it away. You know, about our big time guest, Somebody I'm really, really excited about.
Yes, indeed. Tonight, we have a very, very special guest. We're talking about a good brother. We're talking about a guy that helped us along the way. I mean, without this guy, I probably wouldn't have even been in the situation that I've been able to be in, to meet the people that I've been able to meet, to have the experiences that I've been able to have experiences with. I mean, we're talking about a hardworking brother, a true industry insider. I'm talking big time. I'm talking about this has got to be pro wrestling's greatest secret. I'm talking about the things that this guy has done behind the scenes. His career has spanned over almost a decade plus. It's amazing what he's been able to do, and he's always been very important to us as far as our brand and the opportunities that he's blessed us to be a part of. So, man, I'm excited to have my guy in the building today. So, should we finally tell him who it is? Should we finally just break it down?
Should we break it down? Let's see if we got anything else we want to say about him. I'm gonna say this: he's somebody that you've seen his work.
Yep.
If you've seen a wrestling DVD produced by the WWE, you've seen some of his work. If you see some of the wrestlers on TV, in particular the women, a women's wrestling aficionado from top to bottom. As a matter of fact, this is how I knew we was gonna be friends, because the next day after we first met, I started texting him about women's wrestling. I was asking about different women's wrestlers when I was, remember back in the early days of the realm when I'm interviewing people, and there was never a women's wrestler that he did not know who they were. So, like I said, the people have seen his work, they've seen his story. And if not, we're gonna tell it tonight. We're gonna help tell it tonight. You know what? I want to kick his music off though, because you heard his music too. And ladies and gentlemen, you ready? Are you ready?
Let's do it. I'm ready. I'm hyped. Let's do it. It's WrestleMania week. Let's start the party.
Let's start the party. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one, the only Bliz T.
Know how I feel with one shot, and let them know this is real with one shot. Boss of a king, mindset to win. Go hard in the ring from beginning to end.
That is Bliz T. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is him. You listen to Lee Johnson when he make his entrance on TNT every Wednesday night and a million times on Dark AEW Monday, Tuesday, or whenever you choose to watch it. And we got him in the building. Bliz, what's up, bro?
Let them know that I'm gonna make it with one shot. Let them know. Oh, what's going on, y'all?
My God, what's cracking, brother?
Hey, man, scratching and surviving like the intro on Good Times.
Man, what? Like, how do you better describe it than that? It's got to be the realest thing I heard all day.
Hey, man, that's the world we live in 2021.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I'm elated to have you in the mix with us today during WrestleMania week as the party continues and the tour continues. We move on. I can't wait to dive into all that you're doing right now, all that you've done, all that you will continue to do, and also dive into the rest of this stuff that we call WrestleMania week, man. I'm happy to have you, brother. It's been a long time coming. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. As wrestling fans, as people that work inside of wrestling, you know how important WrestleMania week is for everybody, not even just for WWE, it's for wrestling, period. And it's a weird type of excitement. It's like Super Bowl type of excitement. Some may say it's even bigger than that Super Bowl type of excitement. You get that little tingle like you're 6 years old again, and everybody wants to celebrate the sport of wrestling. So let's do this the way family does it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
let me start off first and foremost, Brian. I didn't even cut you off. Trust me.
No, go ahead.
This is insane. Like I've been looking at this guy's resume. Like we've lived it and we've seen it, but let me break down exactly why we're making such a big deal about this guy. Let me tell you just a little bit of who he is. Let me say I wrote it down. I got it on my. He is the creator and owner of Bliz Photography. His photography has been featured in the wrestling magazines in the US, Japan, and the UK, such as PWI. He's the co-creator of current AEW wrestler Lee Johnson's insurance name, One Shot. Come on now. He has booked for companies such as Real Championship Wrestling, WSU. He has done photography for Ring of Honor, AEW, and Impact Wrestling, and has had photography featured in WWE for the last 12 years. He has 12 years experience behind the scenes in wrestling, doing multiple roles, several different independent companies and collaborations he's been a part of, as well as 11 experience as a wrestling consultant. He teaches promo and character development classes. This guy has done so much in such a short amount of time. Unreal.
Gives me chills,
brother.
Goosebumps.
You have been busy, man. I like, if you don't know who this man is, I'm telling you right now, in front of the rest of the world, you better get to know him quick, because he's going to get hired fast. His services are in need, and this brother does so much. He has so much experience. He's been involved in so many things, but like I said, we're going to get into that. Like, I just had to break it down. I said, they probably wonder, why am I tripping out right now? Why am I so? Trust me, this guy right here, man, you wouldn't even believe his story. But Bliz, talk to the people, man. What type of resume is that, man? Like, you look how young you are. Look at all you've done in such a short amount of time.
Well, to be honest with you, when I started in wrestling, one of the first things you're taught, and I mean, you'll hear this from wrestlers, you'll hear this from a lot of people, is if you want to be successful in this business, you have to take on a lot of hats. Yeah. So when I started, it was just music, it was just like, oh, music. And then it became photography. And then it became conversations. And it's just like, yo, you kind of know your stuff. Is this like censored or uncensored? Like, so if I get
be free.
Keep it real. Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll do that. Yeah. It's like, hey, man, you kind of know your shit. So what about if we do this idea? So then it's like sharing ideas. And then it's like, hey, man, why don't you try to book this match? Oh, okay, cool. That was good. Yo, you want to book this main event? How about you be on the booking team? Oh, hey, we got some students. Why don't you teach them this? Oh, man, you ever held this with a camera? You should do this. Oh, you should do that. And as you just start going, it's like, I love it. I love backstage. I love everything that is involved backstage. It's a lot of pressure. It's very go, go, go. But in wrestling, that always stuck in my head, like, have as many hats as possible, because you never know what can happen. You look at the Paul Heymans of the world. You look at the Eric Bischoffs of the world. These are all people that they didn't start off just behind the scenes. They start off doing something, got a lot of hats, then boom, became the powerful people that they are in this business. Like I said, you bring up somebody like Eric Bischoff. Look at what just happened to him Tuesday. So much has been respected. He's got a ring on his finger now that represents a Hall of Fame. Right. So, for me, being a student of the game and being someone that, loves to contribute and help other people, especially people that want to be helped, of course, I'm going to take on those roles, and I'm going to try to be the best I can be with it. And hearing that resume, and, you see the people that and you're doing all that stuff, I think I'm doing a pretty goddamn good job.
Brian H.
Yes, certainly. And, I could just attest to it. I've worked with him on multiple occasions, whether it was RCW, WSU, one another company, CZW, not only was one of the things I always tell him to add is producer psychologist, because he spent so many hours helping wrestlers. Yeah, the consultation is helping them with character development. But in a day and age where mental health is important, and I don't want to come off disrespectful to people, who are psychologists, but one of the things is he sat there and being that ear, a lot of times, Dwayne, and even Blake, y'all people, when I'm going through something, I sit there and talk to y'all. Imagine this guy doing it for a whole locker room. That's a lot. Also, one of the things is, the calendar. Shine Wrestling, folks. Shine Wrestling. I'm talking Mia Yim. I'm talking Leva Bates. Before they was in WWE and NXT, AEW, he was doing photos of them. So, I'm really excited about that. And the documentary, if you haven't seen it yet, it's something that everybody should go out and watch. We worked together on this and really telling his story. And if you see it, you'll get intrigued. Whenever I produce something, Dwayne is my biggest critic, no doubt about it. And when I got the thumbs up from him, and then he throws a face. But when I got the thumbs up for him, I said, "Yeah, Kobe fist."
Let you know you did something right, and that's you need those type of people in the business. And to go back to what you were saying about like the whole wrestling psychologist thing, in wrestling we see characters. You see these characters in the ring. And I love those characters, but I care more about the person they are. I care about the person that's playing the character. So a lot of the times, whether we're friends, whether associates, or whether you just need something, I gotta first know that mentally, physically, spiritually, you're ready to play the character that you are. So if you're going through something, or if you need a hand at something, or like Brian said, you need that ear, I want to make sure you're prepared for it, unless I don't want to put you in that ring. Or I don't want you to perform at that because you're not going to be able to give it 100%. So knowing not only just for those reasons, but we're people, you know, and then we only get one life. And especially throughout these years, you've seen a lot of people lose their lives. And these times are very rough for a lot of people. So if I could play my part to make sure that these people are good as a person and not just dependent on what they are in the ring, that lets me know that, you know, at least they know that it's one person that cares for them, the person, and not just using them for the talents that they bring inside of a ring.
Yeah, that's facts, man.
No, absolutely, man. Like that's, trust me, I can attest to it as well, man. I think one of the I remember my most fondest memories out of all the places we've been, out of all the trips on the road, was always the car rides. I mean, you get why the boys and the girls in the back, they kind of value those relationships, because man, it's just like you'd be surprised what you learn, what you know, and just those chances just to kind of bond with something that you guys are both passionate about and having so much fun with. Man, it's nothing like it.
Yeah, knowledge and car ride. That's where all the knowledge is. You learn everything on the car rides.
Yeah.
You know, the show part is the easy part, and it's just, you know, that's the fun part. But the learning experience is the car rides. So, you know, fortunately for me, I've been able to travel with so many different people. You know, whether it was you guys, whether it was a Greg Excellent, whether it was a Ruckus, you know, whether it was a Mia Yim, you know, whether it was a Nyla Rose, Amber Rodriguez, you know, we all get to share those bonds. And it's not, you know, like, and even for me, like if somebody's asking me questions, it's so much time in a car ride, I can ask them questions too. Sometimes we were on the road, you know, 2-3 hours, you know,
I was gonna
so
say that 2 hours.
2 hours there, 2 hours back, and an extra hour or so in a Denny's or an Applebee's or something like that, you know. So, and shoot, Brian will tell you, I mean, I think about Applebee's all the time just because of all the knowledge we got just from 45 minutes talking to Jazz, you know. So it's that's the best time. I love the car ride. That's
WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 29 weekend, the first WrestleCon, you know. Shout out to Mia Yim. I never forget, you went to sleep.
Yeah, you slept the whole time. You bastard.
But coming back, you know, we was in there with pretty much all of the women's roster from Shimmer and Shine, you know, and just those opportunities, you know, and that was one of the things. Even Larry Legend, you know, somebody else who's very respected, who always says like, man, we know I was in the clubhouse with him, and he brought up your name. Like, man, yeah, Bliz, me and Brian met, you know, we saw each other. We put stuff together for Bliz's documentary because, you know, he said, folks, Bliz is one of the most respected people in the game. So that was the thing, man. You know, and I'm excited to be able to do this and have you on this show as we get to talk about, you know, the showcase of the Immortals, which we'll get to. But you know, anything else you want to add, Dwayne?
Of course, man. Like I'm just getting started because here's the thing. I feel like people they're not grasping. They're just not grasping how serious the situation is.
You got that voice.
It's unreal. Let me read off a list of the people that Bliz has worked personally with and has personal relationships with over the years.
See, when he do research, folks.
No, we're talking 12 years. Bliz has worked with professional wrestlers currently that are now in WWE, main roster people, NXT, AEW, Ring of Honor, and Impact. Like that's it's mind blowing because that's the cream of the crop as far as the American professional wrestling audience, right? I'm talking about names such as Adam Cole, The Blade, The Bunny, Britt Baker, Cedric Alexander, Cesaro, Drew Gulak, Eddie Kingston, Kaylee Ray, Kevin Owens, Leva Bates, Mia Yim, MJF, Nash Carter, Nikki Cross, Nyla Rose, Santana, Ortiz, Penelope Ford, Wes Lee, Maria Kanellis, Kimberly. The crazy part is the list goes on. That is insane. It's obvious. it is obvious that you work with so many talent before they were considered superstars today. I mean, it's obvious that your passion is developing and cultivating and helping a lot of young talent figure out who they are in this business and helping them navigate in whatever capacity that is, even if it's just getting their professional shots done. Like it takes a giving person in an unforgiving and cold industry to be able to have that type of longevity and work with this caliber, because everybody I name these are people you see on TV every week. These are people that nobody believed will be in the positions that they are, but like, look, these people are main eventing their wrestling shows. These guys are the money makers. So I'm blown away by this list, and I remember a lot of these faces before they were famous.
Yeah,
but like I said, well, we'll get to that. But I just had to. I really had to.
We was in the locker room with them because of him, because of this guy getting us, these opportunities, and we sitting there with people like Vader Scott. I mean, Jim Cornette saw you and started laughing, and we almost fell and busted his face. And I remember specifically Jim Cornette looking at Blake's photos and said, "Well, goddamn, there's some good stuff right here."
Yeah,
we're talking Jim Cornette now. Regardless how you feel what he's saying, there's no doubt about it that this guy is a Hall of Famer and one of the most respected people who's seen so much. I mean, you look at Dark Side of the Ring, the man has a catalog full of stuff. I mean, an attic full of wrestling history. For him to say that Blake Thomas, Bliz Photography was producing good stuff, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Man, you guys just brought back a lot of memories.
Oh yeah, we were going there. I told you what it was going to be today. I said we're definitely going there today.
Yeah, it's and it is a cool thing to like think about, because it makes you think about, like you said, the beginnings of some of those people. Like, I gave Kimberly her first women's match. Her first women's match, not her first match, but her first women's match. We were responsible for Sarah Logan, or, now Sarah Rowe, her first tag team match,
Crazy Mary Dobson.
Yeah, Crazy Mary Dobson. We were responsible for making Mia Yim lose 4 years straight at RCW, because, and I remember small things like this, because people would ask, like, well, why is she losing all the time? Why is she losing? And it's like, it's not about wins and losses. Just because you won a match doesn't mean you didn't get over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get over by getting people over, and in those losses, she was getting over. So she was actually winning. And it's stuff like that like, at the time, a lot of people don't really grasp it. But then as they get more seasoned, as they get older, as they get more matches under their belt, and as they become veterans, they start to realize, like, holy crap, like, now I understand that lesson, because now I'm in the position of getting this person over, So, like you said, just a lot of memories. And like recently I talked to Penelope Ford. We had caught up for a while, and I'm not going to give too much about our conversation or anything, but, I told her, I was like, yeah, I was watching this match. I was like, I was watching your last match, and I saw you still do this little thing with your face. And she's like, you still remember that? And I'm like, of course, I seen you since you started. And she's like, I cannot believe you still pick up on things like that. I'm like, just because y'all there don't mean I'm not just still, studying y'all. Like, it's not us in the locker room again. Like, that's true. You're still my friends, and I'm a student of the game, and now I'm in a position where I teach the game to students, so I got to study everything, and it's small little things like that, and like both of you guys were saying, I mean, there's certain fun things that we saw at ROH that I will not talk about on this show. I don't care how free it is, we'll talk about that off air and bring that up. But like you said, we were back there with Kevin Owens. We're back there with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole. All those people.
Homicide, man. Having a conversation about the Brody.
Not Brody Lee.
Not Brody.
Oh my goodness.
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody.
Brody
yes,
shirt.
yes, and how important that picture was to him.
Yep.
You know,
and I remember capturing that picture of you taking a photo of him, Ruckus, G's, and Mia Yim. You know, and that was like for me, and I can say how appreciative I was because that was my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
And we went there. Then the next day, we went to Delaware and went to the Briscoes promotion. And one of the things you saw was that they welcomed me like family because they said, "Oh, you were Blake, you good." You know what I mean? And you saw the locker room. You had Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, Michael Elgin, all these people in the locker room. And, you know, just to see that respect. And like I said, a team like the Briscoes, you know, everybody knows them and they see them as these rugged guys. But when they see Blake, they say, "Oh, yeah, Bliz photography. You know, Mark Briscoe here. You know, that one video he cut for you, you know?"
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and that it's a tough business, but like you got to look at it and you got to earn respect. There's going to be people that test you. I had a lot of wrestlers that test me, you know, and I had certain wrestlers that were like, you know, why should I take pictures with him? Like, who is he? You know, and it is what it is. Now I look at him and go, why don't you got a personality? You're on the biggest stage. You know, maybe that's why you're not featured on TV as much because you never worked on your personality. But neither here or there, you know. But but you also get those people that test you and they talk to you like men, and they're like, "Yeah, we wanted to see if you was really built for it," and you are, you know. And that's the stuff that you like, and that's the stuff that makes you who you are. That's what made me who I am.
Let me tell you the story real quick. So my first time at CZW WSU, I get there and I'm expecting, you know, Blake gave me the whole rundown. This is what you got to watch out for. This is how people are, whatever. He goes, well, I tell you, he puts me over. He goes, yeah, this is Brian. Y'all need to listen to him. Anything regarding social media because he worked at ESPN and he met Brock Lesnar and produced him. I'm like,
in the discussion. Yeah, in the discussion. Look, this is something that like both of you guys have heard me say, and I say this to my students now, is if you say something and you got the facts to back it up, nobody can challenge you or what you say. So if I'm saying a certain thing, like if somebody says something to me and I'm saying something with a lot of confidence and you want to question me, I got the facts to back it up. That's why I'm saying it. So funny enough, Brian, and to break it down, I mean, you knew this, but I would say it on here. The reason why I kept it short and sweet and said that is because I'm like, okay, if y'all think this is like some kind of mark coming in or anything like that, how many of y'all met Brock Lesnar? How many of y'all had your video production or editing or anything featured in the mornings at ESPN? None of you. So respect them because this is what a respectable, award-winning social media / video editing producer is going to be, and y'all should be very happy that we have him here as a part of our team. That was what that was said in that one sentence.
Well, god dang.
Hey man, facts are facts.
No, that's definitely dope. Now listen, we got to take a quick break, but guess what? When we come back, it's story time. I can't wait because this is the best. This is the part I've been waiting for since we announced that he was coming on the show. We're gonna talk about when Brian H, when you guys met, when I met, a few stories, and I'm gonna tell you some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite car rides. When he was not lying. We said you learn so much during car rides. Man, did I learn quite a bit. Let's put it this way. By the time we were done riding anyway together, Bliz was like, I gotta get out of this car. Please. Like he was, and I always waited until the ride back home. And he was like, I can't wait to get out of here. But like I said, we'll get into that in just a quick moment. Yes, sir. Where is the pizza? Where's the pizza? I'm ready to eat, brother. Where's the pizza? The pizza. You said
the pizza.
You told me. You literally said, "Come through. We're going to have pizza." I'm here. I'm ready to wait. Time out. Now, what are you doing? Why is there a camera set up? No, it's no chill. You said we're having pizza. Why are you giving me my queue space?
Yeah, right there.
What is this about? So there's no pizza. No, I literally didn't eat before I came here because you said, "Come through. We're having pizza." What are you doing? What's this about? Why are you standing in front of the? No, I don't. You know, this seems awfully predictable.
Predictable?
Yeah, predictable.
I'm predictable.
Yeah, this seems awfully familiar.
Yo, who are you talking to?
See. Every time you do this, we stand in this awkward white space, and we stand in front of the camera. You lured me over here saying it was supposed to be pizza, and usually when this happens, you make some sort of announcement about something that I usually have no idea about.
Yo, chill. Got
Okay.
this.
All right. Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new show coming up called Wrestling Realm Now. What is Wrestling Realm Now? It's a brand new show in a podcast format where you get myself and the real Dwayne Allen each and every week. Yes, we're coming back each and every week, and I promise you, we're going to talk about what's going on now, what's going on, maybe bring up some of your favorite moments. Anything you want to talk about, make sure you tweet us at Wrestling Realm. Cool. Got it.
You literally did what I said you were going to do.
No, I didn't.
No, that's exactly what you did. You literally came here and you make. What is Wrestling Realm Now? And when was you going to tell me about it?
You knew about it. I told you about it. Case closed.
No, I don't. No. See, that's and another thing. Can you stop walking off the set without saying cut or something like that? Because that's rude. You're really rude though. That's really rude. Okay. All right. Okay. Back to this again. So you're gonna keep cut. Can you not cut the power off like that while I'm talking? That really hurts my feelings. No, seriously, bro.
Everybody care about your feelings. We talked.
That's not cool. That's not cool though. Like,
we talked about it.
We better than that though. All you have to do is say cut. That's all.
Your feelings still hurt,
Bro. I'm still waiting for my pizza. You tricked me into doing this goddamn show. The least you could have did was compensate me with a pizza, like you said. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so I owe you a pizza.
Yes, you do. We're here now, but it is what it is. Yes, indeed.
Story time.
It is story time. Listen, we're going to jump into WrestleMania, NXT Takeover, AEW, all the stuff that Bliz is involved in now. But first, it is story time. Please, can you guys tell me how you guys met, how you guys started working together? Because I'm going to tell you how I got involved, and then we're just going to go from there.
So the funny thing is, shout out to a good brother, Brandon. He had assumed higher responsibility with Real Championship Wrestling. And there was this Impact Wrestling show that was coming to Aberdeen, Maryland at Cal Ripken Stadium. And I remember he said, hey, you can ride with, Blink can ride with you, whatever. So, all right, cool, I'll drive. So I go pick him up. And the funniest thing about this was, the first thing, we say, oh, hey, how you doing, whatever. He goes, so you see that Batman movie? I'm like, no. Anybody who knows me knows comics, Marvel, Capcom, all that stuff. That's not my thing. It's wrestling and Power Rangers and Mortal Kombat. So when he had that look,
you're such a millennial.
So I was like, yo, he probably don't think I'm cool or something, because he was just like, yeah, I saw it, but he told me, whatever. So next thing you know, we start talking about women's wrestling, and then boom, that was like the rest of the car ride. Of course, he had to tell me how much he hated Hogan. I was like, wait, wait, what? And he made sure, and I was like, that makes no sense. Like, how could you do such a thing? Mind you, this is 2011. 2012. So I'm like, we ride, and that's how we met, and we've been friends ever since. Like, that next Monday, I was watching the second Shine show, and I remember I texted him. I said, "Oh, what you think about Allison Kay and Taylor Made?" He was like, "That's my favorite tag team," and the rest is history.
Yeah, man. And look, I still nothing but love for Allison Kay. I wish Taylor Made was still doing her thing. My love for Allison Kay
was definitely one of the most humble people that we work with. And you could tell, like, the way y'all two work together, she always respected your vision in which direction, you was trying to take WSU.
Look, I'm going to tell you a quick Allison Kay story real quick. And first of all, shout out to her too. Her and Jordan Grace had a great match at Alley Cat's Hot Girl Shit today. Unfortunately, it was at 11 a.m., but still a good match. But anyway,
so much wrestling.
Yeah.
That's early.
So Allison and I, we were doing a photo shoot together. We had a photo shoot. She came to Baltimore. She stayed with me, And we would just, we're in a room and we're talking and everything. And quick tidbit, there was a tournament going on in WSU. I recently had her book for WSU, and we're doing a tournament for the Spirit title. And within 30 minutes, and this is just how intelligent and how good Allison Kay is at what she did. Her and I put together the first round all the way to the finals. And she came up with this idea, and I was like, well, what if we add this to this? And then she's like, all right, well, then we should do this second round. And I was like, yeah, we should do that. We had the whole thing booked. I told the guy that was the owner, I was like, this is how we're going to do. We're going to roll with it. Boom. We did the first round, and then unfortunately, she ended up having to get another booking, and she couldn't be in a tournament anymore. So the whole plan was always, it basically got shut down. But as Brian and Dwayne will tell you, I always say having a plan A, B, C, D, and E. So the owner of the company, is freaking out, and he's fucking, oh my God, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like, fucking freaking out like it's the end of the world, right? And I'm as cool as a cucumber because I had a plan B, plan C. We ended up doing plan C. And Leva Bates was always supposed to win a tournament regardless. But we ended up doing a plan C. We ended up doing something with Hanaya to make her look strong and all of this stuff. And it went great. And I just remember how intelligent, AK is when it comes to putting together stuff as well. And hands down, one of the best people I ever worked with.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. No, that's tough, man. You said quite a bit. And I think the fans that kind of understand where you're coming from when it comes to passion for the industry and the behind the scenes, aspect of this business. And I say this business specifically because, like I said, it's different when you get to enjoy it from one perspective, but it's also different when you have to try to work in it and still find your love and your passion in it, regardless, despite what happens one way or another. So I think that was very key and crucial to what you said. Mm-hmm. But as great as that story was, here comes my part of the story. So let me tell you when I first met Bliz, right? So this is about maybe, I don't even remember, like 2011, 2012. I'm not good with facts and stuff. And I remember this is Sinclair Broadcasting had just acquired Ring of Honor. We had been to maybe one or two shows prior, but I was in college and I was broker than broke. Like if broke was in the dictionary, my name was next to it. Every time they had their tapings, Brian, like, we want to go, like, especially now it was in our backyard. We had RCW. We never really went to MCW shows because how far it was, but RCW was booked in the same arena and space as Ring of Honor at the time, so we were familiar with the area. So he goes, "Oh no, listen, I talked to Bliz, and he said if we don't mind helping him out backstage with some production assistant stuff, he can get us into the show for free." I'm like, "Free? Are you kidding me? That's the magic word." So we pull up to what was formerly, is it still Du Burns Arena, or did Coppermine change the name of the arena? Is it still Du Burns?
I don't quote me. I think it is, but something tells me it isn't because I've been there like since we did the stuff for the documentary, Brian. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know anymore.
It's just a big sign to say Coppermine.
Okay,
so we'll go with that.
Because it's funny because I know the people that run Coppermine. It's funny, but we pull up to Du Burns Arena, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna go to the front. Man, Brian's like, no, come this way. I'm like, wait a minute, where are we going? We're going back there by the production trucks. I'm like, oh shoot, what do we sign up for? We go to the back, and he's like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Bliz. I'm the photographer here. I do some consulting. I'm like, okay, what's up, brother? Chilling. So I'm sitting back.
Made a tall joke.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, and the funny part is he made the tall joke, but that was the beginning of the famous back and forth that we would. I don't forget stuff like that, so that's why it went to those stories I'm about to tell about us in those car rides. Because listen, the best car rides happened. Nobody knows this, but Brian H had to leave town. He took a job at ESPN, went to Connecticut. I was still going to shows with Blake when he was still working. and when I say there was no one to save Blake from the car ride, because I was always driving while he had everything. Especially when I find that Blake lived like 10 minutes up the road from me, I was like, oh yeah, it's on. He couldn't escape me. So anyway, that's where it started. So backstage, and he's got his photography set up. And mind you, we were in school, we were just getting into our major, so we were into photography, video production, all that stuff. So we were anxious to get our hands on anything we could. And then also, it was backstage at wrestling. Like, who's ever been backstage? So we're backstage. Kevin Steen walks in, with the Ring of Honor World Championship title. I'm like, oh my God, I just saw this brother on TV not too long ago. And then we seen Jamesy, you seen Colorado, you saw the Briscoes, and these people were nice simply because we were with Bliz, and they're like, and I'm nervous. I'm thinking, oh shit, they're gonna ask for a ticket, or like, what are these guys doing? Nobody questioned us once. We had no passes, we had nothing. We were dressed in regular clothes, and we were back there trying to look like we were fake doing something. And of course, whenever the show started, we could leave out and go watch the show. It got to the point where we was having so much fun backstage with the boys and the girls that we would miss half the show. And it's like you would pick and choose what matches you wanted to go see, or if there was a break in between or a commercial break, you had to hurry up and try to do something and run back. And that was just the beginning, but it was an experience that I had never thought in my mind that I would ever get a chance to have. And I couldn't be more than grateful and more than thankful that, you know, being able to help Blake learning photography as well, helping, you know, guys just being there, whatever they needed, you know, just getting a chance to interact with wrestlers for the first time ever. You know what I mean? Outside of maybe one or two, it wasn't an autograph signing, it wasn't a meet and greet. It was literally you were working backstage in the business, and just so much knowledge about what was going on backstage and what was to what we're going to expect. That was almost like a domino effect of everything that would come after that. I'm talking every time there was a Ring of Honor show and he was working, he was booked, we were working, we were booked. We met so many superstars. We've seen so many great matches live and in person. Going to a wrestling show is something that that was the first time I had experienced it in that year. My first show was RCW that Brian took me to. And then the second was the first Ring of Honor TV taping they did. But then not too long after that, we were working backstage. It was to the point that every time we showed up, people knew who we were as well. We were like, oh yeah, they work with the photographer, they production assistants, whatever the case may be. So, like I said, 2011, 2012, 2013, Brian H. leaves. Brian H. takes a job at ESPN, more lucrative opportunities. Makes sense. So Blake's having some, professional, this professional space where you get to where it's like you're struggling creatively because people are trying to put you in a box, and you're struggling because people have found out how creative you are, and now they're trying to put you in a box. So mind you, I'm in the process. It's my job. See, now that Brian H. is gone, it's my responsibility to try to keep him motivated. Because if I don't keep him motivated, he's ready to throw everything away. I'm like, come on, Blake. I'm only working for this company. I'm only that. If they can't respond, I'm like, Blake, come on. You just can't give this up, because Ring of Honor at the time, Ring of Honor, RCW, what else was it? I forgot who else Blake was working with. They were all like knocking at his door, and he had to make a choice at the time. Like he had to pick and choose his spots. And I remember he kept saying, "Okay, I'll work at Ring of Honor, or I'll take this booking only if you're coming too." I'm like, "Okay, got you. I'm there. Do whatever you need me to do." He's like, "Look, I need help with the stuff." I said, "Look, I got a big truck. We'll pack everything up. Whatever you need me to do." Bam. I remember one of the later 2000 had to be 13 or 14. I did a behind the scenes video with Future. 14. They were doing Future of Honor backstage, and I mean, first of all, good gosh, Maria Kanellis in person, breathtaking. Seeing the Kingdom, seeing Matt Taven, seeing Mike Bennett, and of course Adam Cole, like, not even in their prime, like they were just getting started. They were only scratching the surface, but these guys will become larger than life. So I decided to do a backstage video. Who do I see back there? I see Moose, I see Hanson and Rowe. Like it was so many superstars. Adam Cole's getting his pictures done. Red Dragon getting that pictures of Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. It was like, man, it was an experience that added to my resume, first and foremost, because of Bliz and being backstage at Ring of Honor during those times. I met AJ Styles. Now everybody knows how I was feeling about AJ Styles in 2015. When he left TNA and he had to get the TNA stink off of him, and he was hitting the pavement. He was I'm not sure if he was going back and forth from New Japan to Ring of Honor just yet, but I know he was part of that. Now, yeah, he was, because he was part of that group. So Blake's like, well, AJ's booked to be on a show tonight. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, if you we can work, and then you can take a picture of them. I was like, oh yeah, I bought my gloves. I had a t-shirt. Mind you, I'm a grown man. I don't care. So now, mind you, this is AJ Styles. You saw him few and far in between on TV, because, Ring of Honor, if you wasn't watching Ring of Honor or New Japan, you didn't see him every week like you used to. And he was really like Bullet Clubbing it up. So he comes in, right? I seen this guy with wavy hair carrying a bag. He's walking in with Jay Lethal. And Jay Lethal, he's like, Jay. And Jay Lethal just leaves him. He's like, and he's got this bag. Man, I come out the office where we were set up. I see AJ Styles. I said, oh my gosh, is it? Now, mind you, I'm the Riddler, so I'm trying to keep it cool. Yeah, you need some help with your bags, AJ? I can, escort you. He's like, oh yeah, I appreciate it. I grabbed his bag. First of all, his bag was heavy. I don't know what he had in the bag. I said, God dang, the rest of the show didn't carry a lot. It probably was. So I picked up the bag and I'm like, man, I'm carrying AJ Styles bag. That's the only time you'll ever hear me even act like that. Him, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, or Michael Jordan. Anybody else, it ain't happening. But I'm never impressed with anything. Everybody knows that. But that moment, I was like, so I'm carrying his bags, and I said, all right. I said, well, you mind if I tell anybody that I carried your bags? Now, that's not like a complete mark. I'm just flipping out because he's like, yeah, you can tell somebody, but not everybody. I was like, okay, cool. So I ran back, Bliz, I just met AJ Styles, brother. As if he didn't tell me he was going to be there that night already. So I was up there all night waiting to get my picture. He had a crazy match that night. I don't remember who he faced. He faced somebody whose name I don't want to mention because he might be in a little bit of hot water right now. But he faced him, and he was so banged up he didn't come back and take a picture, man. But like I said, just that opportunity, that was like one of those were moments that I would not have had if it wasn't for Blake being a good brother that he was, always willing to, help us out, always willing to travel, and always to kind of, help support him, during some of his most difficult times, because it was a lot going on all the time. And working in this business, it can be a headache sometimes trying to keep yourself and keep that balance and still being able to be a professional and still work at the highest level. And that's one thing I can always say, despite everything, the way people respond to me, because I was with you, shows that shows your character. Like I met Adam Cole. When I met Adam Cole, you know what he said to me? He said, hello, my name is Austin. He didn't say he was Adam Cole. And that was simply because I was with Bliz, because Bliz had a situation that he had to address with Adam Cole that day. And I was like, man, this is getting intense. Let me sit down. He's like, I'm Austin. And the crazy part was he didn't care that I was even there. Same thing. When I met ACH, he said, what's going on, man? My name is Albert. I said, oh, well, okay, Albert. Like those were all moments that like I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for, the opportunities that Blake has afforded me personally. Like, because of Blake, I got to saw Jay Lethal and Roderick Strong go 70 minutes in an Iron Man match, on it. And this is when they made the move from Dew Burns to, what was the spot out Cherry Hill?
It was I forgot the name of that arena because we only got to do 2 shows there. Yeah, that was that was the one I remember the most. Like I went to one
Cherry Hill.
Yeah,
I
forgot what
it's like a complex. It was like Dew Burns. It's like a soccer complex or something. They had it at. That's what they eventually moved the shows to, man. But man, those car rides, man. When I say Blake had a situation, everybody, man, I'm going there. And Blake messed up by telling me this situation, and it was intense because everybody knows that Blake is such a passionate brother. He's such a good brother. He cares and he loves the people that he loves. And he was so conflicted by something that just went down, and he was trying to find his place in the midst of it all. And he made the crucial mistake of telling me that. So for a 45-minute ride all the way, I'm not going to address the situation because I'm not going to do that to that brother. For a 45-minute drive, it felt like 20 minutes from Cherry Hill to Lock Raven. He's like, I gotta get out of this car. This guy's killing me right now. There's nobody to save him. His stuff was already packed up. He couldn't go anywhere. I would not let him live it down. When he got in the house, I texted him like, yo, I didn't forget. Next time I saw him, so next time I was like, Bliz, are you going? He's like, nah, I don't think I'm going this week. I'm like, oh, come on. But that is just one story of many that was just like it was. I was going through such a rough period of my life at the time, but those moments, man, like that stuff helped me so much, man. It took my mind away from my own personal problems and struggles. Just like I said, life kicking you in the tail, once you kind of hit the real world, man. So like, those are priceless memories, brother, that I could never, there's nothing I can do or say to thank you enough just for those opportunities. Because to me, it was wrestling was so far away. But then when I met Brian, I met guys like you and the other guys in the industry, Doc and Brandon, like people that kind of embraced me in to be a part of the business and to get involved in a way where I began to see things from a different perspective, not just as a fan. Like priceless memories that I can't, like you can't replace those. You couldn't give them up, man. Like I said, I'm publicly saying, brother, thank you for those moments, man. A lot of people thank you enough for what you do and how much you really, really care. And I like I said, man, but I'm not one of them, man. So I definitely appreciate you, brother. I appreciate, you know, all the things that we was able to do, all the fun we had, and you know, it's just, you know, all that stuff that, you know, I pray that we can continue to get back to at some point. You know, as we continue to take our individual journeys, but you know, anything else wrapped around this business. So
yeah, because we got more memories to make.
Yeah, we definitely got a ton more. And the bounce off of something about those stories. First and foremost, like you know, I try not to get as emotional right now because you know, I gotta always keep my poker face. But
that's Bliz for you. That's Bliz.
Yeah, you know, but
and that's why I kept doing what I was doing that day. You hear what he just said? That's exactly why he's trying to keep his poker face. And I was like, I'm gonna get this guy to break.
Yeah,
he's breaking kayfabe tonight, buddy. He's got to take his ride home. I said I'm gonna break him. He's gonna give it up today, but yeah,
and it's funny because a couple of those car rides, especially to the Cherry Hill shows, it was some serious shit that
yes, it was.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I think about a couple of the instances of a couple things that were happening on that, and I know one of them was like having to talk to a good friend there, and you know, and telling you like, dude, I think I'm gonna make this guy cry. You know, I think I'm gonna make this guy cry, and then getting in the car and going, yo, yeah, he cried. You know, but it was like, it's not because I wanted to be mean to him. I had to tell him because I need him to get better. I need that person, not the wrestler. I need the person to realize the mistake that's going on and how
he saw the rabbit hole coming before the person could see it. Exactly.
You know, but a couple things that I want to touch on with those stories is it's a lot of it is very funny. You know, that video that you did, that was technically the last ROH show that I worked.
And I remember that. Yeah, you were done after that. You were like, I'm finished.
That was the last one because I saw it coming in, and I knew somebody was setting me up as well. Like I felt it in my bones, and I was like, watch what happens next show, and then boom, it happened.
You kept saying that the entire show too. That entire night, that's all you kept saying. Like, Wayne, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting set up, you know, and I got set up, you know. But then the AJ thing, because I remember I knew there was going to be a possibility I wasn't going to be able to shoot AJ, and I didn't, you know, because like you said, he had a really intense match that night. But I remember I did get to work with him at CZW, and I finally got to shoot him. And one of the things when you talk about AJ, he's like, you can tell some people, but not others. I remember before I shot him, I thought about something another photographer was telling me. They were like, yo, like, you got to make sure you get it right with AJ, you know? And he was like, I got cussed out by AJ because when he did the gloves, like his gloves wasn't positioned right and he didn't have his hands right. And then when he saw the picture, like he cussed me out because it wasn't perfect and all of that. And I remember I shot with him at CZW, and I'm laid back. I was like, fuck it. If he don't like it, he don't fucking like it. You know, I was like, but I'm going to kill it. Like, I know my editing. I was like, no offense to anybody, in my opinion. I'm like, nobody's messing with my editing. Like, you may got me on lighting. You may get me on, you know, a crisper picture. But I was like, when it comes to editing, this is going to be the best. And I remember I took the pictures of AJ, saw him at the next show, showed it to him. And you know, and he sat there and he looked at it. And I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to yell at me. And he's like, damn, man, you know, he's like, yo, this came out perfect. And I was like, check, you know, so, you know, that it built up your confidence, you know, so, but yeah, you know, like, yeah, I remember all those times, you know, and that's the thing, like, I don't want people to think like, oh my gosh, like you got set up at ROH, you hated it. Nah, dude, I love those 2 years. Those 2 years were fun. Those 2 years were fun. I always say that, like, RCW taught me the different styles of booking wrestling, you know, whether it's lucha, whether it's technical and all that. ROH taught me how to basically produce, book, and see wrestling in a TV aspect, you know, and how you do commercial breaks and what you do to make sure you're in the hard cam and the moves that should be going on during commercials, all of that. And then you brought up Maria, like Maria, hands down. I don't care. I'm gonna say this to the day I die. Like Maria is one of the most intelligent, best minds in wrestling. Period. And the amount of times that we got the chance to work together, learning from her and just being able to talk to her about women's wrestling. I mean, I can't think enough about her. It's always like her, Sarah Del Rey, Daisy Hayes are like the three women that, like, for me, that they're the ones that help me understand, like, when it comes to the book and the wrestling and getting it done the right way. And then when it goes to like WSU, CZW, Brian can contest a lot to this. That part of it, that taught me how to, even if you're in a negative environment, if you're in a negative environment, if you show a group of people that you believe in them and you're going to make it fun and you want to see them grow, you can turn that negative environment into a positive experience. So I learned a lot about that. And it was, it was a lot of trying times in there, and I've said this to Brian before on record. Like, I truly do believe if I didn't leave CZW, WSU when I did, either A, I would have had some really super serious health problems, or I'd be dead, because that's when I was at my highest weight. I was at 193 pounds at 5'6". That's not cool, and I mean, now, we put on a little COVID weight and all that, but, Brian always messes with me. I'll be like, yeah, I'm at like 130 something. He's like, yo, you complaining? Like, he's like, yo, you could just drop that. You could just drop that like this, and I'm like, yeah, Brian. Well, I mean, sorry, but I'm very healthy now. I'm going to get back to the form that I want to get back at, cardio wise. I want to get back to running. Sorry, I'm kind of going off track, but it made me think.
No, you good.
I want to run for the whole month of May. Like, I'm going to go out and do my runs and stuff, because June, we're here in Baltimore. We're going to be locked up in June because these cicadas are going to take over.
Yeah.
So I got to get my run in. I got to get my run in before they come and take over. But anyway, wrestling.
They'll be running right into you.
Exactly. But like, wrestling wise, like I said, you guys helped me out with a lot of stuff, personally and professionally. And, I do enjoy those experiences, and like, I always think about like what like Ruckus did for me, because the first person in wrestling I met was Larry, but the first wrestler I met was Ruckus, and Ruckus was the first one to take a chance on me and all that. And I remember how he showed me the business. Hey, yeah, you're good at this, da. But then when we got on the show, he's like, set up your stuff right there. Come with me. I need you to write this. You're gonna put this lineup sheet. By the way, this is called a lineup sheet. You put this on here. Don't talk to anybody. And I was like, damn, bro, I was just at your house and we was just chopping it up. Like, this is how he's like, welcome to the business. So,
Is that why you made me circle all the names at first RCW show?
100%.
And put the lineup. Now, you ain't say don't talk to nobody. But
Yeah.
God dang, I was like, yo, I ain't even going to be able to get surprised. Circle
the names, because that's how I was taught. Now it's not like that these days, but the lessons that I did learn from Ruckus and Adam Flash, Derek Frazier, Robbie Marino, my friend Frank Lawson, they helped me become the person I am when it came to booking and running locker rooms and all that. Everything else just came naturally, but like, you needed those moments. And when you guys would come and help me and be along with that, it's like, okay, cool. Like, just help me set up the lights and all that. But the main thing was, I was like, yo, I just want y'all to have a good time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, you want to go watch the show, go watch the show. Like,
yeah.
But if you want to stay back here and see where the real fun is, like, you're more than welcome, because like both of you said, it's for all the shows I've been to, I can't even tell you how many matches I've seen, because it ain't really that many, except for like WSU when I'm aging in a match as well.
Right.
But like, the fun was backstage. So we had the positive room in CZW WSU. We're back there playing Uno, and keeping everybody.
That's why I got to really know Faye Jackson. Shout out to her. All that she's done for the business.
Faye, look, I'm gonna fast forward to something. I would have saved this for later, but I gotta say this right now since you just brought up Faye. Faye is my homie, and for a lot of recent things, Faye went to bat for me for something very recent. And it's crazy because you guys are telling these memories and we're talking about the amount of people you make. And in wrestling, it is about who you know. It's about who you know, and it's about how they act when they get to the places they get.
Yeah,
you may not
big
talk
time.
to a lot. Yeah, you might not. It used to be a term of when people move to Florida, they magically lose service. That was always a
Oh
term.
wow.
You know, but now it's kind of worse. But Faye was somebody that Faye is somebody. I'm not going to use the term is somebody that she took a chance. I told her something. She went to bat for me, and she helped me with something very recent. And we got really close during this pandemic era. And you know, I remember when she told me a little bit before that she was making a decision to step away because of some things and all that. And I don't want to see her go, but as my friend, I'm gonna support her whatever she do. But she gonna be back. I don't care what she say. She gonna be back. Wrestling needs Faye, and I'm glad that she's getting the love and support from so many people right now because she needs to know how important she is to this business. There ain't nobody else like Faye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Listen, that is the absolute perfect transition into where we are headed next on a train to WrestleMania. But we got to take one crucial stop now. What we've been talking about up to this point is your passion for developing superstars, young and up and comers. It brings us to the conversation at hand. NXT Takeover, night 1, night 2, AEW. We're going to go through all that stuff, you know, as we kind of jump into WrestleMania week. But let's start with NXT. Before we talk about the Takeover, I want you to tell me from your perspective and your experience why you love NXT so much and how much you appreciate what NXT is able to do and what they have done for a lot of the people that you have also helped to cultivate and help find their voice and their characters and their development. Like what's your overall opinion about NXT and, you know, what they do overall for the WWE and just for pro wrestling in general?
When I look at NXT, like I'm going to say this right now, and I truly believe this. NXT is the best pure wrestling show out right now. It's better than everybody.
It's been that way for a while.
It's been, you know, and, you know, I know we had this, you know, we were going through this whole Wednesday night war and like all that. And I know, like, okay, yeah, you might not win in the ratings and all that. But if you look at the show from top to bottom, how it's structured, how it's paced, how one of the big things that NXT does better than anybody is how commentary complements the story. Commentary helps the creating of the character and the building of the understanding of their importance. And that is something that's very important to NXT. And like you get to see these moments of you may have seen these people in the indies, and you get to see them start to transform into still a little of that indie persona, but made for TV.
Yeah, and that's the key word right there. Made for TV. That's
TV.
That's the phrase we've been looking for. That we could never put our finger on it. It never like, what do we call it? We used to call it Triple H dust when he just sprinkles Triple H dust and it works. But it's literally your character made for TV. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like I'll give you like an example of, and this is the stuff that I love. Like, you know, like we talked about, like I said, I teach character development, so I get to see a lot of people from when they legit first walk into the school that I'm teaching. I help teach at MCW Pro Wrestling, and I'll see them walk in, they'll cut a promo, and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They don't even believe anything they're saying, and it's god awful. You know, you can tell they're trying, but they're so scared and they're so timid. To the point we'll get to week 12 when it's almost graduation, they're so confident. And they're like, yo, wait till I put this together in the ring. And you start to get excited because you know they're about to have their first match. Now, the example I want to make with NXT is look at Xia Li, right? If you look at somebody like Xia Li when she first started, you saw this woman that had potential. If I say the term girl, you guys know that, you know, I mean, you guys know, but we're letting the audience know this isn't like degrading or anything.
No
like
disrespect by any means.
Yeah. You saw this girl that was still very green, but she had a passion and she knew how to mix in her strengths. So, you know, you see it, it's a little happy, you know, it's a little this, and you're like, oh, okay, she's going to get there. Couple years later, you sprinkle her on TV, and it's just like, oh, okay, I still get it, but it seems like that little thing is missing. And then we get to the development of what she is now. From everything that Jeremy Borash is producing that set up the whole thing with the group
I
that she is
forgot
in.
he is down there. That's crazy.
Yes. So look, side note, when you saw the stuff that's, that happened with her, when you see the promos for Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, you better know I had Jeremy Borash got his fingerprints on these in some kind of way. But going back to Zaya, when she made that debut into this new character and she started having those matches, for me, I used to play a game called LA Noir, right?
Oh,
LA
man,
Noir. Yeah. This is all a game about facial expressions, and you gotta tell somebody's facial expressions to tell if they're lying and not and all that, because you're a detective. Next time you guys watch Zaya's match, I don't know if you'll be able to get it, but she has this thing in her eyes, and it's a thing called "I found who I am." And you see this in characters. You saw this when Mark Henry became the Hall of Pain. You saw this when it started to really click with Randy Orton. You're seeing it with Xia Li now, where it's mixing in everything they wanted her to do. There's mixing in all of her strengths, and it's mixing in who she is in real life and making the character that's going to make her a superstar. And that is something that no company is doing better than NXT. And that's why I put that company in such high regard and think that it is the best thing going in wrestling right now.
Okay, so you have NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. First of all, what a great name. Like, man, like it's that from top to bottom, every detail is always very specific, keen attention being paid to even the minute things. But NXT TakeOver, Stand, Deliver, Night 1. Brian H, let's jump into this for the most part, and I want to get Blake. I want to get your perspective on some of the highlights that you saw, what you liked, what you're a fan of. Because let me tell you what it is with me. I say this every time, and a lot of fans can attest. I've never seen a bad takeover. I cannot watch NXT for weeks at a time. See a takeover, and I leave takeover every time saying I need to get back into NXT because NXT has a very specific job of saying, okay, we have to take unknowns and make them known. And sometimes that takes a long process. So because there's a lack of star power when certain superstars have to move to the main roster, it takes an adjustment period. And sometimes only the diehards kind of give into it. But for the more casual fans that are like, okay, I don't know who they are, so I'm not really invested in them. They always do enough to get to this takeover. And all of a sudden, I'm always invested in so much young talent that I might not have even paid attention to before. So, from your perspective, man, Night 1, talk to me about it. Like, what was your biggest takeaways that you enjoyed the most from your perspective as someone that's worked in a business, a photographer, understanding TV, ring psychology, all that stuff? Talk to me.
In the business.
When you look at Night 1, this is something that goes back to the conversation we had at the very beginning of this. In a win, did you make somebody? Who really like so perfect example of that is look at the gauntlet match. Yeah. Bronson Reed won the match and he was made, but guess what? There was no losers. Swerve got his shine. We already know what LA Knight can do, but he got his shine. Cameron Grimes got his shine. Dexter Lumis always gets his shine. Leon Ruff got his shine. So everybody was made in one match, so that's the takeaways of when I say like wins and losses don't matter. It's supposed to matter, but as long as somebody got made, we all win. Yeah. That you want to know what a perfect match is when you mix in psychology, storytelling, wrestling, brute force, and you do not know who is going to win because of near falls, and then you sprinkle in the commentary being just excited as you look at Tommaso Ciampa versus Walter. Ciampa versus Walter.
I love how he trolled us the entire time because when you looked at Tommaso Ciampa, he was looking like a crazy man in the wilderness. He wasn't shaving his head. He was wearing like cargo shorts. And then like Tommaso Ciampa showed up at TakeOver. I'm like, okay. There's this next level way of attacking the mind when you're watching television, and they do it. I mean, I can't I don't see anybody that does it better, including the main roster.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you two. Sorry, Brian. I'm gonna say this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you two things business wise that made me so proud of that match, and I'm gonna tell you this is something that if you're in the business, a lot of people would have caught on it. Two important things. Mm-hmm. When Walter chopped that table, boom! It's like they keep talking about the table, keep talking about the table, right? Yeah. So that's one. Listen to the commentary. Listen to Wade Barrett. When Wade Barrett is just like, our table is broken. There are splinters everywhere. That's part one. Part two is why Walter is top 5, one of the best in the game. And
how
why
good is Walter?
Says, and it's crazy because he says that Matt is sacred. He did something that I respect so much in that match. And that is before his match, Bronson Reed won with the tsunami, the big splash from the top. So we all know some of the moves that is in Walter's arsenal. And one of them is his big splash from the top. But knowing that somebody did that same exact spot to win a match before him, he stayed away from using it to keep the importance of Bronson using it in a match before. And that is what we call a team player and a wrestling general.
Yeah, much respect. Mm-hmm. Brian H., what were your takeaways, buddy? Like,
man, you know, I just say this about Tommaso Ciampa. When he was in ROH, I didn't see this. You know, I think back to those days when we would see him, and I was just like, good wrestler, but I didn't see this star. You know, this guy who captivated and at one point was the biggest heel in wrestling. You know, you go back to those matches with him and Gargano, he's the biggest heel in wrestling. You know, he had the old lady slapping him. You know, and it felt good to see him kind of, you know, just it felt like Dwayne brought up, you know, it felt like he got his moji back. You know, it's like just call it, like you said, a troll job. And I remember I was sitting there watching the match and I'm on the phone with my mom and, you know, I'm getting my workout on and I just kept going, ooh, like you felt it. And that's the thing. Every time when I see Walter, every time I see him, first of all, the guy's a big deal. When every time you see his name written out, it's all capital letters. That right there to me shows like he's a big deal. And then it's just like, I'm looking at him like, man, who's beating him?
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, even with Walter, and I don't know if a lot of people caught it, but like you guys know, like I study a lot of wrestling. He had an intense match the night after. Granted, it was
the heck he did.
Yeah, him and Rampage Brown. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I thought Rampage Brown was winning the title. I was like, all right, Rampage Brown.
I gotta go back and watch that. This is
gonna be the guy. Yeah, I was like, this is finally gonna be the guy. I was like, if Eli Dragunov didn't beat him for the title, it's gonna be Rampage Brown. Yeah, and it didn't happen. And it got to a point where I was like, Walter's never losing his title.
But that's another thing, because it's like he puts on these matches where it's like you just said, oh man, he about to lose, but it's not an annoying dominance. So it's like you want to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was the whole thing about Takeover. Like I say, even from like the tag title match, it's that pacing. This is what I'm saying, the pacing, right? So it's like it was like technical wrestling, kind of spotty, technical brawl, kind of spotty, women's main event mixes it all in, right? Like, so they make sure to balance it out. And it's like the tag title match they gave us, that was the perfect match to put on after Walter and Ciampa, you know, and then we got the women's title match. Yeah. You know, and the women, you know, and it's like people have heard me say this. I think Io Shirai is the best women's wrestler in the world. In the world, you know, and once again, it goes back to, yes, she lost the match, but did she really lose? What did she really lose? She just lost the title. Like, but everybody won in that match, and now she passed that torch even more so to make Raquel a more respectable, you know, challenger that now becomes a champion that is now the head of the table. You know, sorry, Roman, head of the table of the NXT women's division. You know.
Well, let's stay right there for a moment. Like, so let's dive into that point, because, and I'm asking you specifically because you and Brian H. have always been one of the biggest advocates for women's professional wrestling. I mean, one of the biggest advocates, and we're seeing them being put in some of the best positions that we've ever seen them be put in on a national stage. Because on the indies, where, you know, a lot of us got our start, like I say us because I was part of it, you guys were doing these types of things first. You know what I mean? We saw it in TNA wrestling at one point, where they were giving their women a little bit more wiggle room in regards to creative freedom and just allowing them to go out there and be the best version of themselves. We're seeing it now, and I think most people will say we saw the NXT first. So what do you think about the women main eventing night one and just how far the way we present women's wrestling to today's audience? Because everybody knows NXT is a hardcore audience. NXT is just it's this rabid mix of this independent soul with WWE production and programming and psychology. I mean, it's just probably the best blend I've ever seen it done, and I don't think we'll ever see it replicated until Triple H probably has a more broader grasp on the product that we see on the main roster. But for the women to be in the main event and just everything that you just said, tell me and tell the audience, like, from your perspective and someone that has booked women's wrestling, that has worked exclusively with women for a certain period of time, where you like, I'm only working with the ladies. I'm only working with them for a specific reason, you know what I mean? In regards to, because they didn't have a voice. They didn't have someone that could speak up for them. They didn't have someone to put them in positions to be more than eye candy, but legitimate, hard-hitting superstars globally, not just on the independents and not just in WWE, but literally globally, because you have worked with so many. So talk to me, like what's going through your mind when you're like, yo, they're main eventing NXT, and this is not the first time. We've seen what Sasha and Millie did. We've seen, with Io Shirai and Kairi Sane and Asuka, what they've done, and Charlotte Flair and the Four Horsemen. I mean, so many legendary names that are living legends now because of NXT. To see that the women now are benefiting so much from that. What's going through your mind when you see things like that, knowing that you had a hand in it, whether people want to admit it or not?
First thing that goes in my mind is about time. And then the second thing that goes in my mind is what took y'all so long to recognize what these girls can do. And like, look, it wasn't until very recently that I didn't think that Impact had the best women's roster, because for a long time I was like, yo, I don't care what nobody said. Like, y'all, I hope everybody still understands that Impact has the best women's roster out
they
there,
did
period.
For a while.
And to this day, I still think if it's not for TNA / Impact and all that, none of this shit happens.
No doubt. Easy.
Y'all, people need to thank Gail Kim,
ODB, Mickey James,
Axel Paul, Awesome Kong, Mickey James, and all that. People need to go back and watch. They need to go back and watch. Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim's Last Woman Standing match and all that. Like, Impact played so much in taking women serious, and then we had the Indies, and it's like with NXT made everybody step it up, including the main roster. To the point where you've heard the Bellas and them say it, like they were looking at it and they like, yo, we want to do that. Why are we not doing that? So when I see it now, and this could be a little controversial, what I'm going to say, because everybody's going to, try to compare, but I think this is one of, if not the best NXT women's roster they've ever had.
Wow.
And it's like, yes, okay.
It's a big statement.
Like they might not have Bianca, they might not have Sasha, they might not have Asuka and all that, but what is happening with this version of the NXT women's roster is it's making it that competition that Impact does really well of. At any point, anybody could win the title, anybody can lose the title, anybody can defend the title, and anybody can have a long reign. So when you have a roster that's that healthy, where at any time somebody can step up and be the leader of that roster, you have the best women's roster out there. And I think that just narrowly, this NXT roster has taken that crown from Impact. But that's not saying anything bad about Impact, because I still think they might have lost some key players, but like I said, with any of these things, where at any point you can be like, I want to see Raquel versus Zaya. Oh, I want to see Raquel versus Dakota. Or, oh man, when is Candice going to wrestle Ember to see who's going to face Raquel? All those people that can all be the champion next week. And you would not be mad about it, because it would make sense. That's what, and Brian, you both saw this. That's what we were doing at WSU. That's what a lot of the indies were trying to do. That was always a vision that I had, and I don't take credit for it, but like for me personally, that's what I always wanted with women's wrestling. So when I see that at NXT, I'm like, good, about time the world's seen it. Now can I get a check and be along with it? Just let me know.
Yeah, cut that man a check.
Man, cut him the check, put him on the payroll, and more importantly.
So let me ask you this. See, I'm taking advantage of the situation while you're here. You mentioned in MSK winning the NXT tag titles. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. I watched these brothers in Impact. Thought they were talented. Thought they were good, but I didn't care too much about what they do. Because I'm an older wrestling fan. You got to make me care about what I'm looking at, and that's the one thing I've always seen NXT do better than any other organization, promotion, whatever you want to call it, do. These guys, to me, seems, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just telling you my perspective from what I'm watching from these brothers. I'm seeing them have this meteoric rise so quick because it seemed like the minute they signed with WWE, it's like Triple H already had the wheels turning. Like somebody has been watching them for a while. Like people think that, because the fans don't watch. There's somebody always watching all these young and up and coming superstars and all these promotions and independent products that's available now, pending COVID restrictions and things are opening back up. It seemed like by the time they got to NXT, they kind of already knew what they wanted to do. They kind of knew what they were going to try to turn up or tone down. And it's like, what is it that Triple H saw? Because I know you have a similar mind. What did he see in MSK? And what did his team at NXT, with DX being down there and Regal and Jeremy Borash and all everyone who works behind the scenes, what did they see in MSK that has put them in the position that they're in right now so quickly in such a fast and rapid pace? Like explain to us exactly, because they saw something. You can't tell me. All I know is as a viewer, I'm watching these guys and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm familiar with them. I've watched them, but they're having a different impact now. No pun intended.
Personally, knowing those guys, working with those guys, seeing them from a very early of their career, if I'm a betting man, and when I say this is nothing against anybody else on the roster. What I would assume they saw was that dedication to hard work, pop for the 7-part documentary of the title of mine, but anyway, they saw that dedication to hard work, and they saw this thing that we see in people called that hunger for more. And with them and the way that they listen and can adapt to any situation, right time, even though it was fast, right team to do it. And I think it is a very big representation too, to show the world like, hey, we're not just signing talent, because that was a big thing too, where everybody's like, oh, WWE's just signing up talent because they don't want them to go to AEW.
That's a good point.
They're like, hey guys, we're not just signing people. We're signing the cream of the crop. They're in our system, and we respect what they do, so we reward that hard work. So personally, that's what I saw. And I'm not going to lie. As much as I woke up that morning and I was like, oh, my gosh, I really hope MSK wins. Like, that's my homies. Like, in my mind, I'm like, Zach or Nash. I'm like, man, Zach's going to cry when he get in the car. Like, I'm so happy, But in my heart, I was like, damn, they're gonna give it to Grizzled Young Vets though. And I wasn't mad. Yeah,
they're really good too, though. They're really good. I like them too.
Yeah. And like all three of those teams, I would not have been mad at.
Right.
And I would have been very happy if it was Joaquin and Raul too, just because of my friendship with Joaquin. But I really think that they saw that dedication, the hard work that team has, and everywhere they go, even from the smallest indie to Impact to WWE, they are so locked and focused to work as hard as they can. And I personally think Triple H saw that right away.
Is that lacking for some reason in the locker room? Because it sounds like why isn't something that you just automatically do? Do you feel like that's missing with a lot of today's superstar? I mean, the business is kind of cushy compared to the way it used to be. I mean, what say you?
Sometimes I don't want to say lacking. I think that sometimes you're running into more so of people like, oh my gosh, I made it. These checks are nice. It's that comfortability. But look, I done had a lot of people call me when cut days are coming, and they're like, hey Blake, do you think I'm gonna get cut? What do you think I can do? And did you hear anything? Has anybody told you? And I'm like, why are you so worried about it? Oh, I'm just worried. Like, oh, well, if you're giving the best you can do, why are you so worried? Are you comfortable? Right. No, you can never be comfortable here. Well, you look comfortable.
Mm.
So I think it is that comfortability that some get, but then you get a lot of people, they come in and they're like, yo, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I'm taking it. It ain't no disrespect to this, ain't no disrespect to that. I work too goddamn hard to go back to the Indies.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's not a shot at the Indies, because there are a lot of people that make a good living on the Indies, but they're like, I don't want to, I'm not trying to drive to Kansas City from Florida.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to beg for more money and all that. I want a stable week thing on a TV product. So that's what I think it is.
No, that makes sense, man. It's you talking about stand and deliver. I mean, that night one punched me in the face. So you can imagine how I felt when night two came around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think both shows, like, I mean, after the second show ended, I called a friend of mine and I said, what the hell is anybody going to do for the rest of the week? Like, right. I'm like, how are you going to top that? But I think that whole like I said, and that's not even just the women. This roster at NXT is some of the hungriest I've ever seen.
It looks like it though.
Yeah, and to me, the difference between this roster and a lot of other rosters, and I say this out of respect, I don't think they're fighting to get to the main roster. I think they're fighting for those letters NXT and to show that this is not developmental. We are NXT, period. And I think you're seeing that in all of those matches. You saw that in night one and night two. I like both nights. I personally, if somebody said which night was your favorite, I would personally say night one. I thought night two was great too.
So what stood out to you night two? Like, what was, first of all, I like, if we break down night two, we'll sit here for another hour and a half. And I know we don't got that kind of time. We got to move. But tell me what stood out, just get what stood out the most to you first and foremost on night two. And then, any other tidbit you want to add in there, like, by all means, throw it in there.
Two things stood out for me. The first thing that stood out for me was, oh man, like, hey, Adam Cole, we haven't talked in a while, but can I please do your entrance music? That was the first thing that stood out to me, because I god awful hated his entrance music. I was just like, how random track did they pick for his entrance music? Your boy's right here. You can call me. I'll hook you up, right? But that had nothing to do with the match. The match was fantastic. But my highlight, and it's funny because it's kind of different than everybody. My highlight was a person that has become my favorite wrestler in NXT, and I think this guy is such a huge superstar, and if they just let him be him, continue to be him, and if he goes to main roster and he's the same person, he's going to be that guy, and that is Santos Escobar.
Yes, man. I was hoping you was bringing it up. I was like, yes, because listen to me, that was where I was going to go.
Yes. He does no wrong, and it's been like that for years. And I was one of those people that were very skeptical when I found out they were going to take his mask off. And I was just like, oh, like so much tradition. What if he's not comfortable? And he took that mask off and is just taking it here, And I'm just
looks like $1 million.
Yes. Everything about him, man.
The best part is I like how he still incorporates it somehow. He'll come out in that mask. To me, it's almost like a tribute. Like, look, this is still who I am, but it's an evolution of who I am. So it seems like he has an opportunity to be kind of both. You know what I mean? So but go ahead. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, brother.
Yeah, he was my standout star. He has the most perfect suicide dive in anybody in wrestling. And for me, I kind of like. Of course, he's this heel. And the faction is a heel and everything. But for me, I love the moment of him sharing it with his son.
Yeah, that was gold at the end with the two cruiserweight titles, and he came out with the mask on.
Yeah,
that's that family feel WWE moment right there.
Yep. And I'm telling you, he's a gem, man. Like he has become my favorite person in NXT, and I think he's the complete package. And it's like when Brian and I used to like talk about like Andrade. And stuff like that. Like I was always big, huge Andrade fan. And one of his matches is a match that I tell my students to study because he did something in this match that a lot of wrestlers don't do. But when I see Santos, man, like I look at him and it's like, yeah, Karrion Kross is great. Finn is great. Finn is on another level right now too. You know,
Unreal.
but I'm just,
Unreal.
but I look at Santos and I'm just like, look, take my money. That's my guy. Like somebody says, who's your number one draft pick out of everything in WWE right now? I'm gonna be like, give me Santos Escobar. I'm gonna bet on him.
One thing he did. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say one thing he did. First thing I was thinking of, I said this dude watched that Randy Orton conversation with Stone Cold Steve Austin, because when he went up there and grabbed that championship after, he just stood there, and I was like, yes, took it in because he knew he had it. His opponent just fell through the ladder and is out cold, and he went up there and grabbed those championships. And I said, storytelling. Oh, this dude is ready. He's money.
Yeah. And how much easier is it for it to grab a title when it's a Velcro belt? Oh, so much easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Santos Escobar is a guy that I've always looked at more recently because I'm more familiar with him now in NXT than what he did previously. But him and Roosh from Ring of Honor have always like they're two of my favorite. Like I don't even want to call them cruiserweights, and I don't even want to call them like lucha libre stars, because to me they're total package players, because they have been rooted in lucha libre, but they have evolved into so much more. Those are two guys that I said, man, they're very similar but very different, but they've always been two of my favorites in that category. I don't even know what category to put them in. They're in the same category with Andrade. Some of these Latin superstars, you know, and superstars that wrestle similar styles to them, man. They're some of my favorites right now. And to me, they have stood out in a way, and they're so similar but so different. I'm just like, man, if these guys are on a collision course, to me, they're like different sides of the same coin. One is in one space and one is in the other. Where it's like a Santos Escobar is a cruiserweight champion in NXT, where you have a Roosh that's, you know, Ring of Honor world champion, you know, and always in Ring of Honor world champion conversations. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, I look at both of those guys and say, man, I wish those guys, because of their size, I know they're probably going to get typecast at some point, but they both to me sit well in these main event scenarios. But that's I was so glad when you brought him up, because to me, like you know, one of our buddies in the group chat from the Flex was like, man, I don't know who it was, I don't remember who said it, but they were like, man, was that you that said that? Well, Brian,
it was D.
Oh, it was D. Okay, that's what I thought it was. D was like, man, I've been looking forward to this cruiser match just as much as I was looking forward to Neville and Austin Aries in the WrestleMania, you know, and that show was on the pre-show, and it was the best match on the card that night, outside of maybe was Charlotte and Asuka on the same pay-per-view?
No, I would have said the next one would have been AJ and Shane.
Yeah, sure, like that. In regards to making it stand out, you know what I mean? Not the technical stuff, but just as a fan, you know. So man, that was, to me, that was, NXT has this way of giving these new and up and coming guys their stamp of approval. Like, I'm here. Like, they've been there for a while, but then that takeover, man, it just does something different. And NXT, and I'll just say this as a side note, I know we're going late, but who gives a god dang? It's our show. We can go as late as we want to go. We're gonna get this conversation out. They always find a way for me to make me really love wrestling again.
Yeah,
whether it's the music, the presentation, the takeovers. Anytime I find myself in a time where I'm in a lull or I'm not as interested, they always find a way to pull me back in. And like I say, as an older wrestling fan, man, what more can you ask for? You know what I mean? To be able to still enjoy it and still have that passion about this product, you know, especially with the glitz and glamour of the main roster. And then, you know, everything else you see in the indies that we're not privy to as much now, especially during the pandemic era of professional wrestling. So, man, you mentioned Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. They closed the show. You watched that story unfold. You had a hand in that story when they went at it in Ring of Honor. What's the biggest difference that you saw from the evolution of where they were then in that feud versus where they are now, to the point where they've been telling this story for a while? The storytelling is still the best I've seen anywhere. Like, I'm talking about the stuff like when Kyle O'Reilly's at his training dojo, and then they have Adam Cole. This is what I'm saying about NXT, and I don't. And if it's Jeremy Borash that you're telling me has something to do with this, I'm gonna give him credit, and anyone who has worked with him or had anything to do with that whole segment. The small things, they showed it from the perspective of the security camera. It wasn't a cinematic situation where, you know, you happen to see Adam Cole go into the dojo and while he's training, and it's like, well, you suspend, you know, belief watching television. You say, well, they got a camera that, like, that real feeling of it, like that shows effort. Like they showed it from the perspective of the security camera. Like small things like that make a huge difference in storytelling because it made it seem so natural. It made it seem so volatile. The video package and even them showing up to the building, and they have to both get escorted by security for like, look, man, we're not trying to have no issues, and we're not trying to have this get out of hand because over the last couple of weeks, you guys can't seem to keep your hands off each other in violent ways, man. So the setup, the little things like that made it such a big deal. And to me, this is the best I've ever seen Kyle O'Reilly because the minute he got there, even before Undisputed Era kind of took off, I said they want to make him into something that he wasn't. The last Ring of Honor show I went to, this is the last one I went to outside of when Bliz was done. It was a meet and greet before, you know, usually when they let you in early if you get a pass. I don't know how we got in the production crew that day, but somehow I think we were working with Fox Sports 1340 AM. So we got in and it was a meet and greet, and Kyle O'Reilly was sitting there. He looked miserable. He just sitting there like this, and nobody was at his table. Get asked for the autographs. Eventually, he just got up and left. And like, you know, he had one or two, and to see who he has become now in NXT, and to see he was getting to that point in Ring of Honor, and he was smart because at the height of it, he got out of there, and he went somewhere where he was going to be valued. But to see where he is now, you know, on that same level with Adam Cole, and like that, you kind of had to break up Undisputed Era because you need that talent to involve in every other part of the card. Because when NXT has this way of always evolving into a new version of NXT with the superstars they have, to the point where the people are like, no, we're not done yet. We got him from this business. Seeing him in that space to me is like, it's a testament because he was probably my least favorite. I remember Kyle O'Reilly was freaking Davey Richards' protege. When we first started going to Ring of Honor shows, we were still paying before. I think it's before we even met you, Blake. We were sitting in the stands at Du Burns, and Davey Richards was the current world champion. He was getting ready to start beefing with Kevin Owens because the product was changing and his style of Ring of Honor was kind of fading out as Kevin Steen at the time style was coming in. Kyle O'Reilly was his protege before they began to beef, and I was like, man, this guy's athletic. This guy's, you know, one of those mixed martial. He was always, that character wasn't there to make me say, okay, what's the reason I'm going to care about this guy besides he's the athletic mixed martial arts kind of guy? And he was like, well, this guy's going to be the next version of me. And I was like, well, I think you're boring, Davey Richards. I don't want this guy to be the next version of you. But to see him evolve into who he is now, and I'm like, man, at one point I was afraid he was going to fall through the cracks, but now I'm looking at him like, man, I think Kyle O'Reilly has a bright future. So, yeah, man, when you sit back and I was one of the same people. I don't see it in this guy, but I saw you talk about Undisputed Era. I saw it with Roger Strong. He was somebody that I didn't think had that swag. Yeah, until same thing. Yep. I saw it backstage, but like I just saw more of him as a wrestler. But then you see in the Undisputed, now it makes sense for people out there like, man, well, why would Undisputed Era break up? It kind of makes sense, you know, like you said, just spreading that talent around through the roster. Right, no doubt. I mean, that's it. It's unreal to see where he has come and where he is going. We see Bliz is kind of trying to get situated though, but we're gonna dive into. Let me ask you about we'll save that for Bliz because I know he likes all the women's stuff. Night 2, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed. Johnny Gargano is on the same. It's almost in a similar boat as Kyle O'Reilly. Like you didn't see much of this guy's personality at first, but to me, I'm gonna tell you in my mind where he turned the corner. When he had his match with Andrade at the Takeover, everybody thought it was going to be a downward spiral. Yep. They thought that was like, oh well, Takeover had a good run. That was going to be it. And they blew the roof. Everybody's like, nobody knew Andrade had that in his bag, you know, outside of, you know, La Sombre fans of New Japan. And I don't think anybody thought Johnny Gargano could carry that. But they both proved something that night. You know what I mean? But look at, he's at the point now, he's creating stars. This is the most I've ever cared about Bronson Reed. And Johnny Gargano and who he has developed into has a lot to do with that. Yeah, you hit that right on the head though. When I see Gargano, I was looking at him like, you know, good wrestler, but what else? And like you said, now seeing this new level, you know, then I think when he turned heel for me,
I saw this different dimension to his character, and then sometimes he's going back and forth, like he's kind of conflicted, and seeing the work he's doing with Austin Theory, his wife Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, seeing this whole crew come together, and it's like it's not overblown, like it's not like a faction that's overblown that you're like, oh, here they come again, but just a little simple stuff, even the stuff like him and his wife at the house, and just you really saw all this develop with him and Ciampa. And like you said, now he's been able to take everything, like let's just say, learn from that feud and apply it to the rest of his career going forward. And he's somebody that, even though he's not like, they had like, I think he went to the main roster for a cup of coffee and came back.
Right. Yeah.
He's not somebody you're necessarily looking for. It's like, oh man, we want to see him on the main roster. We want to see him on the main roster. Nah, he's fine in NXT because he's still going to contribute and still going to not get stale.
Yeah. How much fun is DX, you think, putting all this stuff together?
Oh, man, it's like working with the kids.
Man, we're talking about Shawn Michaels. We're talking about Triple H. We're talking about Road Dogg, DL Double. Please get well soon, brother. Mm-hmm. It's not fair that they get to have that much fun. Like, they're still doing DX things, like, for the next generation. It's funny because you always see the memes like, look at Shawn Michaels looking at. It's funny when Shawn Michaels looking at Adam Cole like, oh, it's funny. This is when you watch your son do things that you did when you were younger.
Yep. And
I'm just like, yeah, that's they just look like proud papas down there. But they get to take the things that they had an issue with, coming up, and said, man, if we had a chance to do things differently, and it seems like that blank canvas that Triple H he got his Road Dogg with him, and not no pun intended, not Road Dogg, but his guy Shawn Michaels, and then Deal Double. It makes sense why he left SmackDown. And crazy part is Road Dogg was a part of SmackDown back when SmackDown was like when it was rolling. Like, and it was man, what was it? 2016? It was on fire.
Like around that Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles era, right?
Yes, indeed. Like they was.
The thing is, they always say you want to leave the business better than when you came into it, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Literally, that's what they're doing. They're coming in. They're like, okay, we left it as wrestlers, but we're trying to prepare these guys and make it even better. So when we're really ready to go home and sit down and not produce anything, they're going to be situated and they're essentially going to be set, and then they can pass on those lessons down the line. You look at Triple H, like Stephanie McMahon said that he would come to these production meetings and be like, he would come in a leather coat and jeans, and she'd be like, why does he wear a suit? He's just so disrespectful. But he's always had that like love for the business. And that's the reason why you only see him make that one dumb movie, The Chaperone, because like this is something he loves to do.
I just think Triple H has his pulse on the business. It's different. Like he just the stereotype is older guys they're kind of stuck in their ways. And this is what Jim Cornette gets bashed about a lot, is that instead of evolving with the business, they try to make the business adapt to what they're used to and give an updated version of what they're used to. Instead of saying, okay, look, the business is changing. We have to adapt. We have to move. We have to, move things in a forward progression. But, it's,
Just like if you break the fourth wall, right? You play basketball for a while, good while.
Right,
but now you're able to get back to these kids, and you may say to them, hey, you know what? You're able to do things I wasn't do, but this is what you don't know, because I've been through the valley, I've been through the forest, and I've seen this. So now let me give you this. So now you can take your talent and then apply that to your game with the knowledge that I'm giving you. And that's essentially what these producers are doing, and it's great that you have people like you're looking at DX, who is halfway responsible. I say them in the NWO, right? And they're halfway responsible for us loving wrestling in the way we do, right? Like we love wrestling, but we love it in a different way because we was like, okay, it went from being cartoonish to like that thing we shouldn't be watching, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
No, it makes sense.
So and they was responsible for all that. And granted, they can't do everything. And why wouldn't, if you're a wrestler, why wouldn't you listen to these guys? I don't think we're probably getting now with the wrestlers coming in now are probably about that class of that aren't attitude era kids, they're ruthless aggression era kids. But for the most part, you got the other ones that was attitude era kids,
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense. So it makes sense. Takeover.
It's funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go. No, I was just thinking about the conversation. It's funny. Like I remember when we met Virgil, and we was talking about wrestlers like Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. He goes, "Well, these guys are like your age," and I was thinking, like, huh? And I was like, wait a minute, he right. Like they were around our age.
They definitely were. Like we were watching on TV, like, oh wait a minute, these people we could have potentially went to school with.
Yeah.
So yeah, but man, NXT Takeover, night 1, night 2, stand to deliver. What do you think about the format? Having 2 nights, being able to kind of fit all of this stuff. Because they gave us a heck of a show, like on both nights, and it's like what we have gotten that same. That I'm sure they could have fit. They could have probably put a lot of the same matches on the same card. Just have a really long NXT Takeover. But then again, maybe the matches might have been shorter. Some of the storytelling and aspects of anything.
I really think you eliminate the gauntlet match, and so that everybody else wouldn't have got to pay that. And you still could have had a 3-hour takeover. Like I said, it always comes down to, for me, I always look at trying to do back-to-back nights with, it's going to always come down to producing television, conducting a live audience, and also getting other people involved, So that's the reason why I don't think we'll necessarily have 2 night shows. But in this case, I was glad that WWE said, you know what, we're going to give you Takeover. And it was also a smart business decision, right? So we give you the first night on USA because this is what you're used to. But now we're going to give you the night 2 on Peacock. 1, because we can do that instead of having to have USA shift their programming. But 2, they also, like, this is what you're going to watch WrestleMania on. So get ready, And if you're watching, like you said, WrestleMania week is a homecoming for everybody. Like you said on About Nothing Sports. And it's a homecoming for everybody. So a lot of people who are coming back, the people who just got Peacock who may not have watched Takeover, they were like, wait, they got wrestling on night. Well, let me tune in and see. And then look, and it was smart. You put your Adam Cole, your heavy hitters, your Adam Coles, your Finn Balor's, you put them on night 2 and they blow the roof off the place. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. I mean, you don't want to say that you don't think they can do no wrong, but man, golly, man, like it's.
When has there been a bad takeover?
I've never seen one. Never seen one. Like it has evolved. Do you remember we watched the first takeover? We were like, man, this is really good.
Yeah, like we US, Hulu, right?
Yeah, like the network. I don't know if the network was up by that time, but I just remember it was at the Performance Center because we saw, I believe we saw Natalya and Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
And then I think the main event was Neville and
Sami Zayn.
No, not the first takeover. I think it was Neville and what's his name? Mr. Perfect Service. Not Bray Wyatt's brother. That's terrible. I forgot the guy's name.
Oh, Bo Dallas?
Bo Dallas. Sheesh. Yeah.
Wait, but Bo Dallas beat Big E for the title.
Right. I think Neville beat him. But I got you. I thought I could have swore that was the first takeover main event was Neville versus Bo Dallas for the. Was it a ladder match?
I'm sitting there like we don't have Google.
I'm just you try to go off your memory, so yeah. But I could have swore that first NXT takeover main event was Neville versus Bo Dallas for the NXT title. It might have been. Was it Tyson Kidd?
Yeah, Tyson Kidd, May 29th, 2014.
Was that for the NXT Championship?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I try to give Bo Dallas credit, but yeah, it's that. Back then, we were like, "Oh man, this is dope, man!" But I mean, Stand and Deliver. Yes, it stood up, and yes, it delivered.
Yeah. So this is a 34th takeover. Well, yeah, 34th takeover.
That's unreal. Like I said, we were trying to wait to Bliz kind of dealt with his technical difficulties, but man, we might as well just tackle it now with the women's tag team championship with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus The Way. I'll say this. I've never been the biggest Shotzi Blackheart character fan. What she does in the ring is really good. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm a little bit different. I want to make me be invested in what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
That match right there, I was like, okay, let me stop taking this girl, like not taking her seriously. She's good. Ember Moon is Ember Moon. Like she's, I remember when we first met her as Athena, and having the opportunity to work with her and just just to see what she's evolved into, and then come back from injury, and then kind of making her triumphant return back to NXT, and now in this tag team, and now as tag team champions. It's to see where she has come from, and then now she has the ability to kind of work with some of these younger girls and some of these talented up and comers, to be in a situation. To me, it was like, man, they're making it difficult for a lot of people to produce women's wrestling, because it seems like the cuffs are off when it comes to what they're allowed to do in the ring. And it seems like even when you leave NXT, you don't see that same energy on the main roster. It's not their fault. It's just a different product, technically. You know what I mean? Like, you want to.
I'm glad you said it that way too, because that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, and that's why we got to bring the superior wrestling intellect.
Of course, man. It's a different product. You can only get but so mad about that. But it's definitely a different product, man. But listen to me. You talking about the road to WrestleMania? You talking about takeovers, all that good stuff, man. I'm having a blast. Like, last year we got snow for a lot of stuff with this. The pandemic and all the stuff, and everything was derailed. Everything was all over the place, man. But I mean, for this to be the week that we're in right now, man, like, so we're moving into WrestleMania finally. Like, I'm drained. Like, I'm just like, we didn't talk about all the stuff. we didn't reach has memories, man. We didn't got on like Bliz and
but shout out to you, because kicking the show off with a trip down memory lane that kind of broke up the WrestleMania potential hangover. Because I'm gonna tell you. One thing, I'm an avid podcast listener, right? Mm-hmm. I purposely did not listen to anything yet. I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning. But I purposely didn't listen to anything yet or watch anything, because I wanted to come in like this.
I just go old school. Yep.
Yeah, I want nobody else's, like, sometimes you have your own opinion, but they're like, what do you think about it this way? I ain't want none of that. There's no disrespect. I just didn't want none of that. So, right. I wanted to come here and chill with my boys, talk WrestleMania. And like you said, man, just that big news today, finding out it's official. I got this Wrestle Melanin shirt on. Shout out to Kanisha _ was it LO Blue? But shout out to her for making these shirts. I was like, man, when will we ever get this? We never know. That's the thing. The plight of Black America. You don't know when you're gonna get these moments. They're far and few in between. We got a Black WWE champion going into night one, and we got a Black women's champion with another Black woman champion vying for the title. And what's so exciting about it is when you look at everything, just this opportunity, Sasha, Bianca, all the marbles. I'm looking at this, man, and this is going to be great. This is going to be everything, get the cookout, get the grills ready, get the barbecue music. We lost the brother DMX. Play some of his music as you get ready for WrestleMania. It's gonna be a party, like you said. We've been partying all week.
Man, what? It's just god dang. Listen. First of all, this is your fault, because I don't do all this stuff. Like you've been. This is I just told you. I said, man, this is the first time I've done this stuff ever. Like I've never hit the road this heavy. Like
you ain't finished. You ain't finished.
It's still that, bro. There's still like so much to do. Like I mean, I remember I don't even know what to say. Like I'm at a loss. I'm just
good, don't it, though? It's like this.
I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun because there's no way to dispel this extra energy that I usually have after WrestleMania week. Conversation with the fellas, school, whatever, phone, group text. That's how it was before. But like I said, we're older now. Our lives have changed. Responsibilities are different. But to be able to have the technology we've been able to have and the ability to kind of produce and put things together, I'm having a lot of fun. I feel like a kid again.
It reminds me of the year we put the show together. It feels like 2011.
No, that's exactly the feel of it.
Yeah, where every day we was talking wrestling. Every time we saw each other, we was talking wrestling, and then you had people stopping in the hallways and said, "I saw that too." It reminds me. It's funny. I'm gonna send. I might clip it off. I was looking through some old Realm footage today, and I remember when I was doing my road to WrestleMania, and I had recorded. And this is when I used to edit on the iPad, and I had recorded the stuff. Remember, I had the little piece to take the SD card, to hook it directly to the iPad, and I would upload the MOVs on there.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot about it until I just and then I was like, how did I edit? I said, oh, and I remember, and it's in shout out to Professor Red. We're her classmate. I'm talking B. Croft, Amir, Jordan, what's his name? Lawrence, all of us, and a whole bunch more, Vance, all in the class. And I gotta see him tomorrow for a BABJ meeting. But all of us in the classroom. And I'm just sitting there, just getting B-roll footage, you know, because this is the road to WrestleMania, and now, and that's what this feels like, you know. But what are you most excited for going into night one? You get a breather because you don't have this 8-hour-long WrestleMania, you know. It's probably gonna be 3 hours, maybe 3.5. What are you most excited for when you wake up tomorrow morning and you know it's WrestleMania day?
Man, oh man.
Because my mother already told me, she said, I already know I'm gonna talk to you now because I know tomorrow, don't bother you, don't call you, don't text. She even posted it on my Facebook. I said, guess what? It's your fault. She said, I said, you fed this beast. You started it.
Yeah. Well, she told when I learned that story about her watching that stuff while she was pregnant with you in the womb, I was like, oh yeah, he never stood a chance. Like you started kicking while Hogan matches on. I was like, hey, that guy never stood a chance. But
every time Vince came out,
man, night one. Like I got it. I literally got it in front of me. First of all, hearing Sasha Banks and Bianca pair main event, mind-numbing and mind-blowing. I'm not going to address that just yet. I'm gonna save that. But Cesaro versus Seth Rollins stands out to me. Because Cesaro is probably got to be one of the most talented, most resilient superstars on the face of the planet. And I say this to say it's not easy for a superstar to grind and push and push and push until he gets his moment. Someone to kind of be resilient enough to say, yo, check this out. I'm not going anywhere until I accomplish what I need to accomplish.
Here comes Blake. He's back. Somebody who worked with Cesaro.
Hey, it's Blizzard. We got Blizzard back.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. You good?
No, sorry about that.
No, you good.
My iPad fell, and the jack is actually the headphones snapped inside of it. So there's a piece of it stuck in the headphones, and
you need some pliers.
Yeah, well, and it's like that. I need some really, really little pliers because everything is snapped inside of, so I can't pull it out.
I'm sorry to hear that, brother, but it's all good. Like I said, this is the beauty of it. We're gonna make it happen regardless, man. But I'm glad you're back here on us, man. We just finished up NXT, and we just stand and deliver. It stood and delivered, as I said before. We're moving on to Mania. We're just talking about night one. The night one, and then what stands out. And I just recently talked about one of the things that stood out to me on night one is Cesaro and Seth Rollins. And I was saying, Cesaro's got to be one of the most resilient, most talented players on the face of the planet. I mean, for him to get this match, to me, I think Seth Rollins is going to go out of his way to make Cesaro someone that needs to be included in these top guy conversations. Not necessarily he should be world champion. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about seriously in contention every week. He has been, don't get me wrong. You can't not have a show without Cesaro on it after a while because he's just that good. He forces you to say, we got to involve him in some way, shape, or form. But for him to have this match right here at WrestleMania, to me, this is a potential show stealer for night one.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think it's his time for this to be his first singles match at WrestleMania is pretty crazy. But I think that it's the right match, the right guy. Look at what Seth Rollins has done for Mania. Not only if it's putting himself over, but putting other people over, having those matches. So I think that has potential to be one of the show stealers. That and my man Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest gets Miz and Morrison. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but please let me know. Well, before that, I'm gonna give you a stat about this WrestleMania, and this is for the Brian Waters of the world.
Brian H. Waters. Make sure you put an H on it.
Brian H. Waters of the world.
Yeah, he doesn't play with the H.
Yeah. So, did you guys know? And this is courtesy of Dave LaGreca at Busted Open. Did you guys know that this is the first WrestleMania since 1988 that The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, or Triple H will not be involved in?
I did see that this week.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
For that's crazy.
Just
But
like let that sit in for a minute.
you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, we don't want these part-timers or we don't want these legends, yada yada yada. Okay, well, you get what you pay for, so no bitching and moaning if you don't like it.
And that's the truth. That's the honest to God truth.
I think we're gonna be fine without him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I 100% think.
I think the powers that be will see that we'll be fine without him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones that keep dialing the number. Come on back.
Now let me ask you guys: do you start off Mania with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley?
Probably.
I started off with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley.
Probably. I mean, I mean, you gotta, you want to. Here's my perspective on that. WrestleMania, once again, is there's an X factor to this whole event. It's fans. First of all, we're going to be thrown off seeing as many fans in an arena for the first time ever. That's going to set the wrestling world on fire. And to me, there's not going to be any drop off all night because I think wrestling fans are long overdue. They've been like waiting for the opportunity to even get back to anything close to being as normal as far as a wrestling show. So it's like to be that first match, to have that first pop of you know, I don't even know what you call it, of the pandemic era. You know what I mean? With that many people, man, I whatever that 25,000 or 45,000 is going to be, they're going to sound like 400,000 that night. I think it's like I think it's going to be the fans are going to feel it. The superstars are going to feel it. I think it's going to be at home. We're going to feel it because we're going to be like, wow, we forgot what this felt like to see the fans react to that, because sometimes they have an effect on how we react at home when we watch. So I think
100%. I think it's very important to be the first match. You want to be the first person that goes through that curtain, you know, in this era to set the tone. And I think the first match is just important as the last.
I think they owe to Drew McIntyre to have that moment. You know what I mean? Not necessarily about winning or losing, but it's just about like, look, man, you didn't get that chance, you know, and you carried the company in a very difficult time period. And you know, just when you got to that point where you wanted to feel that moment, and the closest he got to it was winning the WWE Championship, you know, at the Thunderdome. But for him to have that first pop of the post of the pandemic era of professional wrestling, I think it would make sense, and it wouldn't surprise me for them to go on first.
Yeah,
good. You know what? I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I hope his moment is. And obviously, I want to see Bobby Lashley retain the title. That's the moment he deserves. You know, I don't need to see another Drew McIntyre title reign. But if they don't go with that one, just looking at this card, I think you go with the match you just talked about, Seth Rollins and Cesaro, just because you know those two gonna go out there and tear it up. And
it's gonna be tough to follow.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tough. And I think the only reason why Miz and the Bad Bunny, because you kind of want to
Bonnie,
people, huh?
Bonnie.
No, yeah. The people that's watching, you want to hold them in, so you don't want to like the people that's watching just for him to come in and then leave right away. You know what I mean? Especially it's not like it's pay-per-view where you paid for it. You know, it's on Peacock, so you want to hold those people in. Kind of want to keep them like, okay, when is he coming up? When is he coming up?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to. I think night one. I think we have a situation just like Takeover, where in my eyes, not in everybody's eyes. I'm sorry. Where you got that situation of possibly night one, kind of, you know, getting a nod more than night two.
We saved this part just for you. We wanted to wait till you got back because, like I said, this is kind of all the way up, you know, your alley and your expertise, man. Brian H made the announcement that they officially declared that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair will main event night one. Once again, here we go again, man. First of all, we got Black Excellence. Then we got these sisters that's about to go out there and close this show in front of all those fans. I mean, talk about a moment. You know what I mean? Like it's something special that we as a community kind of get these chances to live history in a positive way. You know, in so many situations where we live history in such a negative way. What are you thinking will be the reaction? What are you expecting from Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair? And one, the story they'll tell. Two, the moment itself. And three, just the fans' reaction being there live.
I'm thinking a lot of excellence. There's going to be there's going to be nerves. but it's going to be happy nerves. I think that you're going to get a lot of damn, we did it, and I think that's going to really help elevate the match even more. You know, because they're going to be there like, damn, we did this, and now we got to support each other. If somebody were to ask me who's going to be a winner, it's such a toss-up because I look at it and I'm like, well, I think the winner of the main event of night one will tell a lot about who will be the winner of night two. Because, you know, depending on which story they go with. Like, you look at Sasha, let's just say if Sasha wins and she goes full-blown healed, does that mean you close out WrestleMania night 2 with Roman winning too? You know, or if Bianca wins, does that mean that, you know, you close it out with Roman win, or does that mean you have Edge win, or do you have the feel-good moment of Daniel Bryan? You know, so I think that a lot of how this main event plays out will play a factor on how you close out the show in night 2.
Speaking of night 2, standouts, expectations. First of all, night 2 is loaded. It just like it got to a point in we were like questioning, is this WrestleMania going to feel like a WrestleMania? And then it seemed like in like the last 2 weeks, it's like, okay, yeah, now it's definitely WrestleMania. Night 2, we said all about night 1. Once again, that's a punch in the face. It's enough to get you excited. And like you said, many fans are probably looking forward to night 1, especially those moments, because now it's like you got to compete for these special moments. Going into night 2, there's so many stories to be told. What stands out the most to you as a fan, but also as a storyteller? Because there's a lot of stories to be told. You have Edge, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan. You have this whole, Oscar and Rhea Ripley. You got the Fiend and Randy Orton. You have Big E and Apollo Crews, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Riddle and Sheamus seems to be the less simple of a story to be told. And then, of course, you have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus whatever the winners of the tag team tournament match. That's going to be on night 1 with Lana and Naomi versus Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose and the Riot Squad and Natalya and Tamina. So those two matches seem to me
and
be
Carmella
like
and Billie Kay.
And Carmella and Billie Kay. Those seem to be the competition style matches, but it seems like night 2 is full of these stories. You know what I mean? Because they've been giving us these epics over the pandemic era of professional wrestling, because like I've been saying for the last 4 or 5 shows I've done, even though we've only done like 4, they've only had to cater to one audience all this time, and that was the audience at home. They never had to cater to a live audience because of production purposes. But now you come to WrestleMania, and now you're going to have to find that balance again between both. So what story has you the most intrigued? I can tell you what has me intrigued, because I'm interested in quite a few things, but what has got your attention? What is something that you say, I have to see how this plays out on night 2?
I would have to say it. Brian and I was kind of talking about this earlier before we started the broadcast about the main event.
Okay.
I still want to say it's the main event that has me more intrigued. Now, normally, I would have said Owens, Sami Zayn. But with the whole Logan Paul thing, I think that, and I think, it's different strokes for different folks. So that doesn't really, that for me personally, it kind of takes away from it, because it takes away from the awesome storytelling that we know these two can do.
Yeah, sure.
So weirdly enough, it probably, if it's not the main event, it would probably be Apollo and Big E. I'm sorry. Yeah, Apollo and Big E.
Yep.
Storyline wise, I want to know what the hell this match is.
And
I think they're doing a good job of kind of like not telling you what it is. So I do think, it would probably be that match, to be honest with you.
No, I mean that we just talked about this on A&B Sports with Ashley Baker. We that was probably one of the first stops on our WrestleMania week tour, and we talked about the significance of what Apollo Crews has been able to do for himself, especially incorporating who he is and his Nigerian heritage and legacy. To have something called a Nigerian drum fight at a WrestleMania is like, that's a win already for me personally.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
For me, and like I'm saying this in a very nice way. Like it gives, because of that element,
Mm-hmm.
it's given me the feel of Rumble in the Jungle, like the
Okay.
boxing fight.
Yeah.
You know, and like Ali Kumbaya. Like I'm so intrigued of what the theatrics of it can be.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
and I think that it, you know, putting that in there kind of makes the match feel even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know, there's pros and cons to all of this in wrestling, and I think one of the cons that I think that took away from this is the fact that, what is this, like match number 5? You know, it's like
Yeah.
match number 5 and number 6 of these two, but you still want to root for these two. Like you want to root for these two in reasons of like, I want to see these two make it. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. That's
so
exactly the vibe. Yeah.
that's what I'm getting with that. So that I think that kind of, you know, differentiations of actually, you know, still being excited for it.
No doubt. Question for you,
Mm-hmm.
once again, because your experience is far beyond our expertise, but your experience is 12 years in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Does Rhea Ripley, is this a passing of the torch for Rhea Ripley? Like we've seen Asuka hold the Raw Women's title for a while, and she, you know, it hasn't really been highlighted or, you know, defended on it, you know, on a I guess on a not necessarily important scale, but like a focused scale. But it seems like it was being saved for this moment right here. I know Bret Hart talked about a lot of times he felt like he was carrying the title to help, you know, pass the torch. Is this going to be a passing of the torch moment for Rhea Ripley? Is this the rocket strap that Mick Foley has told the WWE, listen, you better put it on her now and you better ride it to the moon? Is this that moment? She had a match with Charlotte last year, losing the NXT Women's title to Charlotte, and what she was able to do. I care more about what she did in that match with Charlotte going forward than I did first off when I first saw her and she was getting comparisons to Charlotte. She went out of her way to develop into her own individual space.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, to kind of make a name for herself. And she kind of cut her feet last year. She paid her dues. Is this going to be her moment this year with Asuka? Because Asuka's one of my favorites. Asuka, to me, is one of the best wrestlers in the world, male, female, regardless. I think that match that she had with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania could have main evented that year.
That match with Charlotte Flair was the main event. It just wasn't in the last match. That was
fair.
The main event.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all right. So I had my feelings about this match. I feel like, I don't want to use the term, it could have been done differently.
Okay.
Do I think it is like the passing of the torch? I think it is designed to be that way.
Sure.
But it's not connecting with everybody to be that way because of how it was presented to us.
Sure. Is that because of time constraints? Do you think it was last minute? Do you think it was rushed?
I just think that the writing was wrong. You know,
okay.
Like, you know, like, she just walks in and goes, "Hey, can I face you at WrestleMania?" And Asuka goes, "Yeah." Okay, boom, match. You know, where it's like different words when you want to say the same thing, right? Where it could have easily been like, "Hey, Asuka, you've beaten everybody except me, you know, and I'm here to prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
So you beating everybody, you need a fresh challenge. Why don't we freshen it up for Mania? Give me the match." And then Asuka goes, "Okay." Or you can just do the same route that Io Shirai did with Raquel. You know, Rhea's about to make her debut against somebody. And then all of a sudden, Asuka's music hits and she goes, no. Like, you don't debut here. You debut at Mania against me.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many different routes you can go to it. And I think that's kind of taking a lot of the steam away from the match of what it can be. But I think it'll be very telling, not right now. Things will be really telling come time to do the draft. Because when we do that draft and these rosters get freshened up and we see who's on Raw and who's on SmackDown, then we'll know more of what this actually means, if it is something for like the Rocket being strapped on her. But hey, I sent it to Brian today. I sent it to Brian today. A certain person put out a post of themselves in Tampa working out, and she put out a bunch of words, and if you put together the first word of each word that she put out, it spells night one. And if this means that the man Becky Lynch is coming back in some kind of shape or capacity, guess what, guys? All hell's about to break loose.
I can imagine. I mean, it wouldn't be Russell. I think WrestleMania is definitely, they got quite a few surprises for us as my light is about to go out. I can see it now. Man,
I would just say with night one, yeah, she'll be there night one when she inserts the tag team turmoil match with Bailey, and then come on night two and they take those tag titles.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No, well, all right, Brian. This is where I disagree with Brian at. I think she comes in after Bobby Lashley beats Drew McIntyre, and she goes, "I want you, Bobby," and Bobby accepts it, and then she beats Bobby and becomes the world champion. No, I'm just joking around, but that's what the man needs to do.
No, that will be a big swerve.
Yeah.
The main event for night two, the head of the table versus the returning superstar versus the ultimate underdog, Daniel Bryan. Talk to me. Like, do I need to say more?
I think, as much, if you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago, right, and when you started to see this triple threat starting to come, I would have been like, Roman's winning. Like, Roman's still winning. But they have done a good job of everybody's look strong every week.
Yeah.
And I don't like to use this term a lot, but if I were booking it, I would have made it a triple threat elimination. I would have made it a triple threat elimination, and I would have had Roman eliminate them both. Because if you get that steam and he just basically poo-poos on the dream of Daniel Bryan and Edge, and you still want, now you've just refreshed Roman even more. Like, the talking and the shit talk that Roman does always keeps him fresh.
Right, yeah.
You really want to keep him fresh, and you really want to make it so people are starting to hate him and he ain't cool, have him destroy the dreams of both Daniel Bryan and Edge. All I'm going to say is this. Call Bryan. Call Bryan after he eliminates Daniel Bryan and Edge. Or let me say this the right way. Edge and then Daniel Bryan. And you tell me what Bryan's reaction is as not as a person wrestling in the wrestling business, but as a fan. You tell me what his reaction is, and then you tell me if Roman didn't do his job.
Yeah. No, that trust me. Brian H's reaction.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like me, I'm just sitting there thinking, I was like, man, if you'd have told me in 2012 that Daniel Bryan would be in 3 WrestleMania main events, right? I would be like, yeah, all right. And this is his 4th world championship match. But, right here, I'll still say this. I don't want Roman to lose that title. I want to see him hold that title until the next man up, whoever it is, whether it's Big E, whether it's Karrion Kross or whomever that's never held the gold, kind of like the same way JBL was until John Cena became the champion. That's the kind of run I want to see him have.
No, man, trust me. There's so many different stories you can tell. There's so many different avenues you can go to, and it's like I haven't heard a bad one yet. It's including the one you just gave us. So, man, this has got to be one of the most intense conversations that we have had in almost, I don't even know what, 8 years maybe. I'm just saying any number. But
Dwayne, I don't mean to cut you off either. And
no, go ahead. Yeah,
I was in the process of fixing this iPad too, and I you guys couldn't see my face, but I was ready to throw some shit, But if you want to get it updated, I did get the piece out. But anyway, no, I want to say this real quick. There's another scenario in this whole thing too.
Okay, things just got interesting.
That scenario is, and I know it's wishful thinking, but if Roman wins, everybody's pissed off, yada yada yada. Heyman's looking up at that title, like how he looks at it, and all that jazz. And that Brock music hit, and Brock just comes in the ring and looks at him, and then it just goes off.
I think we're doing for a lot of surprises like that because, to me, in my mind, if I'm WWE, and this is my first time having a live audience, I'm pulling out everything I could possibly bring out that's going to allow my show. Like it's like Jericho was has been on his Forbidden Door tour, as I call it. And he tweeted a photo of WWE playing. And I was like, man, that would be very WWE like that if you hear Break the Walls Down at any point in time at the night, and Chris Jericho comes out there. It's like I said to the guys in the group text, I said, anyone who's going to pay to be at WrestleMania now are going to be the diehards. Man, I'm excited just for the opportunity for those type of surprises, and they're probably not even going to happen, but the excitement is there.
There could be some cliffhangers though. You got to think, Peacock is a part of USA Network. They gonna want these people to tune in to their programming come Monday night. You know, and we know Raw isn't gonna be the typical Monday after Raw crowd, but you best believe the people in the Thunderdome gonna try to make it the most memorable Thunderdome after Mania, because hopefully will be the last. So that. I feel they're gonna do those surprises. They're gonna pull everything out, but like you said, they're gonna have those. I think they're gonna have those cliffhangers as well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Once again, that's what makes Mania weekend. Mania weekend. It's
absolutely.
Be super duper excited, or we're gonna be like, oh, Drew's the champ again. All right, and then, or it'll just, it'll be a Raw, and it'll be Sheamus versus Drew again.
I'm speaking it to existence that next year in Texas we'll all be down there.
Yeah, man, God willing, of course.
I'm gonna speak a little bit more in existence of that. If I have it my way, not only will we all be down there, but hopefully it'll be, hey man, here's you guys' tickets. Enjoy the show. I'm gonna be in the back doing some work.
Just like the old times.
Yeah. Just in a bigger arena and in a VIP section.
Man, look. I look, this has been a long time coming, and I can't thank you enough just for taking this time to just had this reunion with us, man, and just dive into WrestleMania night 1, night 2, Takeover, everything that's going on, man. I know it's been a lot going on, and you're still working and still grinding to get to where you want to be, man. I got nothing but love and respect for what you're doing, what you're doing now to continue to make things done. As we wrap up, just probably one of the greatest conversations that we've had in a long time, man. Let everybody know, what are you up to now, man? Like you've done so much already. You know what I mean? This is the height of professional wrestling right now. This is our Super Bowl. This is our moment. What are you doing now? Like, what's next? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What are you, just update us.
Well, I've been starting to do one-on-one wrestling consulting, which once again, I didn't realize how much I actually loved it. I've always known I loved it.
Yeah.
But when the person approached me for it and was like, "Can I pay for a session?" and I was just like, "Wow, this is kind of new." And he always says that the best knowledge that you can get, you got to pay for it. And he's like, "I want to pay you." And after our first 2 sessions, it made me realize, like, man, I can sit in the office, and if somebody's like, "Hey, we got these 6 new guys coming in. This one's coming in at 1. This one's coming in at 3. This one's coming in at 5." And that was a job, however many times a week. It made me realize how much I would love to do that job. But I've started doing that. I got back to doing teaching again. I haven't been able to go to the school, because of the pandemic, but we did virtual class and I had some of our advanced students in it, and we had special guests come in, and you guys know, like, I like to set the bar high, so I had a WWE Hall of Famer as the special guest, and it made me miss. I miss this stuff, man. Like, I miss teaching and developing and being able to work in the back, and I've been blessed to have things go kind of full circle, where I got into wrestling by music, and then music got me to the developing friendship with Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Where he hears something and he's like, "Yo, we gotta find this guy." Like, "Yo, get him on the show, get him on this." And you know, just a small bit of knowledge I've had from him, and you know, I'll be able to see him this coming May, you know, because he'll be in Baltimore. For you know, we don't get paid to give sponsorship, so you know, I don't know if I mean, I guess I should plug the event.
Shoot, if you're gonna be there, by all means, brother.
It's Baltimore Celeb Fest. I think it's May 15th. You know, there'll be a lot of people there. Mark will be there, Kevin Nash, Kiera Hogan, Deonna Purrazzo, Tito Santana, Diamante. It's be a good time. Quick meet and greet, right? But you know, just like everybody else, you know, this has been 12 going on 13 years, man. I put a lot of work into this. I put my heart into this. I've given up everything for this, you know, and I've had conversations with Brian and stuff. And, you know, during this pandemic, we've been through these things of people like, oh, you got to support the indie wrestler. You know, you hear companies going like, oh, we brought in indie wrestlers because we don't want indie wrestlers to go broke, and support the indies and yada, yada, yada. Well, there's more to that. Mm. And I don't want, that's not throwing shade at the wrestler, but it's like, we got hit too. You know, your photographers, your videographers, your graphic designers, your editors, your bookers, we got hit too. And somebody like me has been, I've been doing nothing but struggling. And I don't have that luxury of, you know, billionaires or millionaires or thousandaires saying like, hey, you know, support the guys that help support us. Because as soon as you come back, what do? You're contacting your gear designers. You're contacting your photographers and all that. And we're going through the same thing as everybody else. And we lost out on a lot too. And I sometimes feel like people don't see the importance of us, you know, of all of us, you know, that work behind the scenes. And we got, well, some of us, I can't speak for all of us, but somebody like me, I got a goal too. You know, I want to be employed by one of the bigger companies. I want to test my 12 to 13 years of experience on a bigger platform. And if people tell me I'm ready to do it, I want to be able to have the chance to do it. I have the resume to do it. And this is what I'm working for. This is what I want to do to support not myself, but my family, and to show my students, show my friends, show my other guys that work, guys and girls that work behind the scenes, that we can make it too. You know, and it's a hard business. It's a hard business, and the business can kill you, and the business can make you stronger, and it can make you weak. We've all been broken down. We've all wanted to quit, and and a lot of us been able to accomplish our dreams, but the real ones stay in contact with one another. You know, that's why I always speak highly about Drew Gulak, or I speak highly about Nikki Cross, you know, or Jesse, the referee, you know, people like that. Leva Bates, you know, like I speak highly because these people, they didn't lose service, you know, and my dream is to
that's big.
You know, so that's the goal, guys. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to finally accomplish these dreams.
Man, I can't think of a better way to wrap up just this entire conversation, man. I can't, like, that said it all. I mean, that's the meat and potatoes of the entire meal. So, Brian H.
Hey, you know, thank you for coming on, man. Everybody,
brother.
You know, make sure y'all follow Blake at It's Bliz on all social media platforms.
I'm sorry.
Nah, they got it. So during this conversation, but yeah, make sure y'all check out his documentary. Go to www.youtube.com/BWaters Productions. Search Dedicated to Hard Work. It's a whole playlist right there waiting for you. 7 episodes.
You get to see 7 pictures of Matt Taven, because when you pull it up, it's just the same picture of Matt Taven on the playlist. So you get to see long Matt Taven. Look for the cute Matt Taven picture. Also, guys, I really do apologize for this.
No, you're good.
My iPad, like that legit, it was some kind of freak accident. I don't know if it was like the ghost of my dog like running around. I don't know what happened.
Bro, you don't got to apologize. That's the best part about us doing is we can do whatever the heck we want to do. If anybody's got a problem with it, they can give it to the complaint department. But I can't seem to find the trash can anywhere. So
Steve, that's for somebody else, baby.
Exactly.
That's funny. Also, too, like I just want to say, like, you know, show love to your people that make you look good, for the people that are listening. And for me, I want to give a shout out to, my homie Ronald. I want to give a shout out to my homie Sir Tizzy, who we do music. We've done the music together and all that. So shout out to my homie Yolanda, your designer. Like I said, that's another one. You see her stuff on TV all the time, but then, get that girl her flowers as well. We all deserve some flowers. I personally like white roses over red ones. But and especially you guys, man, like what you guys do for wrestling, I hope it's appreciated, not by just small amount of friends or this crew of people. Like, nah, you guys do right by the business, and y'all been putting in this work for a long time. Y'all done made this show what it is now. Brian, you done collected even more belts, and I'm still thinking about coming to your house and maybe borrowing Big Gold. I might not give it back, not sure yet.
Hey, it's got my name on it for that reason.
Hey, look, I don't know if you just saw, look, I just found these little tweezers to get this out, this little thing. I got flyers and everything. I've seen how you take off the plates, and you gotta remember, I'm friends with Ruckus, so I'm
the Mod King.
Can we modify this, please?
Hey, all he gotta do is make you one.
That's true too. Matter of fact, I'm calling him tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he owe you a belt.
Yeah, he does. He does owe me a belt.
See, what would you do if I didn't remind you of this stuff? What would you do?
Yeah, I'd sit there and be, kind of lost with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all get ready. The Wrestling Realm tour continues. After night 1, we will join the Wrestling Marks of Excellence. Corey, Doc, Champ, Glenn. We're going to join them talking WrestleMania. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and do not forget, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com/Wrestling Realm. Good night, everybody. Wait, did you have anything else to say?
No.
It doesn't matter if you had anything else to say.
I already said no. It doesn't work that way.
Because you said a close word. We out, folks.
Houston, we have a problem.